TSM was going down mid, and everybody was kind of just running in circles, like, what's going to happen?
It was an exciting game.
Yes.
It was definitely, there were a lot of mistakes, though.
Yep.
So definitely a lot to improve on for both teams. They will be looking back over this one.
Great play again coming in from Voyboy. That Yasuo pickup again, trying to put the team on his back, and it came out strong. Being shut down to the mid lane from Star Call from Bjergsen, and still Voyboy going back, getting what he needed to, and still being a formidable opponent throughout that game.
This has got to start wearing on Curse. Again, second time, they've almost had a comeback. They get behind, they make all the right steps to get back in this game. They capitalize on these mistakes, and then they fall short. They almost were on the road to another a comeback victory, and they couldn't do it yet again. That's 2 times.
It's going to be something that obviously they work on. They said they're doing really, really well in scrims. How do you get that to translate? A lot of teams have said that before, and it's kind of just a lost no man's land between there that you have to figure out yourself as a team.
It always worries me when the teams are talking about how well they do in scrims, because it just makes me think that they're using more in scrims than they should be, and they've pretty much shown everything that's good. They're like, yes, we keep winning in scrims with X, X, and X strategies. Then all the teams that they're beating in these scrims, are like, these are their best strategies, and they're working to come up with counters to those. By the time you get into the LCS games, people are prepared, they know what to expect, and it seems to fall apart for a lot of the teams that do have that scrim success.
Yeah, a strong pickup, I think, in Champion Select by Team Solo Mid here as well. To control the game, the Soraka pickup shut down a lot of the early assassination that Curse would have gotten. That pickup from Bjergsen, something we don't see a lot in the LCS from him. Maybe he'll play it in solo queue, but that was a very well-played Soraka.
And his build, early arm guard,
recipe,
Morella Nomicons for more cooldown reduction and grievous wounds onto Mundo, and then into the Rylai's. Just such strong teamfight control coming from Bjergsen. They even tried to focus him one time instead of Turtle.
Right.
And it definitely cost Curse that teamfight.
It was an interesting way to play the entire game out. So, guys, if you haven't set up your LCS fantasy team yet, you got to get hopping on that.
Yeah, set up your league, and then you can play Owner and create your dream team of pro players from Europe and North America. Each week, you rack up points based on the actual LCS games, giving you a whole new reason to celebrate each First Blood, Smash Turret, and Creep Kill as you compete against your friends. Head to fantasy.loesports.com for all of the details.
It's pretty fun. Got our own teams going on.
Oh,
I'm sure
fun.
everybody does, and it makes it so much more fun to watch, and I'm sure everybody's chomping at the bit at these games happen, and it gets a little bit louder as you're watching with friends, too.
Yeah, you take it real seriously until your team starts losing, and you're like,
it's okay.
It's just fantasy.
Absolutely. But with this game, we see that Curse, they can and always will be a team that comes back when they're down on gold. But how can they finish after that?
Seems to be. I mean, they did everything in their power. They definitely were a lot of things that they could work on. Vision control, a couple of calls there. Focus during team fights seemed to be a pretty big issue too.
I gotta say, even with the loss of Kobe, for both teams, I'm excited to see what's to come because, like I said, it was a pretty good game, and with the mistakes that were made, can be fixed quite easily. So now for more on TSM's victory, let's send it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thanks very much, Riv. I want to welcome Glebe and Bjergsen to the desk. You guys both added this year to the roster, actually. It seems you guys are improving over time. So, 50-minute game, pretty close overall. Glebe, why aren't you flashing in front of hooks to save Turtle?
I don't know, man. Like, our...
It's a tricky game.
Yeah.
It's a tricky game. I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you guys were coming back after you pretty much had control and then ended up losing a little bit of control of the game. How was your talking to the team?
Okay, so we had pretty good control early, and then we went a little bit too far up, and they did a really good job punishing us for mispositioning, and then they won a team fight like pretty decisively. They got 2 Barons in a row, and we're getting back like into the game. But basically, we just needed to keep cool and like reset at that point because our comp was a lot stronger at fighting 5v5, and they were almost all AD. So as long as we were able to just group up and keep Twitch alive, or even if Twitch didn't live, Soraka and everyone else did so much consistent magic damage that we could just win team fights together.
And so did you know that really coming in? Like, because it seemed like after about 20 minutes in, you guys had control. A lot of the turrets were down, and you took the game pretty slowly. There weren't any like really long, prolonged sieges. It seemed to be around Baron. Did you know that like super late game, your team fights would carry you?
Yeah, when we picked Soraka and Twitch, we were just going for like late game team fights. Twitch is really, really bad at sieging turrets, so with that kind of pick, we just had to go for team fights and just get vision control around objectives, because if we walked up to try to take a tower, it just puts Twitch in a really vulnerable position.
Yeah, and there was a lot of vulnerable Twitch in that game. Special was getting a little bit of revenge whenever time we'd hook Wild Turtle. Bjergsen, I saw you smile a lot about that. It's strange with all the pressure on the new guys, amazing, and Glebe as well. With Turtle actually getting caught. Just give me your thoughts on the game.
I think it puts of course not just as much, but it also puts a lot of pressure on the old players because we have a new roster. We need to prove ourselves. We need to be able to step it up. We're all, Darius, Turtle, and I are all feeling a lot of pressure too, and we really want to show the new guys, show the fans that our new lineup is just as good, and we can continue to improve with this new lineup.
And I kind of have a personal curiosity because I've had this matchup discussion with a lot of players. The Soraka versus Yasuo. I've heard Skara call it a counter for Soraka. I've heard Voiboy say Yasuo does. How do you see the matchup? Because you had a good time with Soraka.
It's such a strange matchup because I just feel like Yasuo is just pretty much useless against Soraka in teamfights because I think it's even a 3-second silence. And Yasuo's a very spammy champion. His Q is really his main damage source. And if he can't cast out while silenced, his damage just goes down by a lot. And you can heal the target that he's damaging, giving him like 130 armor or something. So I feel like in lane, it's fairly even. Yasuo with ganks can definitely set up ganks on Soraka because he's so mobile and he can set up the knock-up into an ult. But I feel like in teamfights, Yasuo just can't really do much against Soraka.
Yeah, notice you actually were managing to silence him before he would ever get to ult. There was one, he got like a 4-man knock-up on you guys, and as he dashes in, it's like, well, you're silenced. And you guys all landed before he got to ulti. So that worked really well for you guys. Let's actually break down into a couple of replays, because you guys had a bunch of really fun teamfights. The first one, it's about 35 minutes into the game, if we can pull that one up on the screen. Mid lane, pretty explosive battle. This one does work well for you guys, if one of you wants to walk me through it.
Yeah, sure. Right now, we're pretty much in a position where we say if Darius gets hooked, we'll still be able to win the fight. We get a lot of damage on Expressial and the root, most importantly. Yasuo gets a knock-up on me, and I don't know, they just focus me really hard. And I managed to stay alive for a long time, which just lets Turtle do damage. So this is one of the fights where they focus me instead. They did get a lot of good CCs on me and stuff like that, but Soraka is really hard to focus. And that's why Soraka is such a strong champion, is that even if you focus her, she'll still be really useful and take a long time to kill.
And I've actually had a lot of curiosity with Odd One and X Special departing from the team, how the shot calling is actually coming out. Glebe, I see you talking a lot, at least in the player games. Were you setting up anything vocally before that fight?
Well, before, we were just like reminding each other what we need to do in fights, like what targets we need to protect, what we should be doing. Like when we have Soraka and Twitch, we can basically just kite back and have Soraka and Twitch shred everyone's MR and kill everybody. And we're just like reminding everyone what to do in the fights and make sure we know what we're doing, so we go in like with a plan.
And then when the fight happens, is there a primary shot caller, or is it all just the groundwork you've laid beforehand?
When we're actually fighting, a lot of people are talking. I'd say it's mostly Bjergsen, me, and Amazing right now, but everyone contributes, I think, a lot.
Awesome.
And actually, speaking of, you said everyone doing the right thing in team fights. I noticed with that being a good battle, the one we just saw, where Turtle was killing everyone, what's your job as a support to keep him alive and keep him on the right targets?
When you're playing with Twitch, as a support, you usually just want to stand next to him and make sure he can get auto attacks off on anyone. Once he pops his ult, he can completely just kill a whole team. So if you're a support like Thresh or Zyra or anyone with AoE CC, you just want to lock down the people trying to get to Twitch and make sure he can sit back and get his auto attacks off with his ult.
Okay. Well, we actually have one more replay. Actually, we want to have you guys walk us through. It's about 46 minutes into the game. Another team fight that you guys win. Glebe, if you want to take this one.
All right. So we're just sitting mid right now, and then Voiboy jumps into us. He goes on me and Bjergsen, and before I die, I'm able to get my ult off. So even though I instantly die, Twitch is alive in the back, and he lives for a really long time before he actually dies. So he's able to get a ton of damage off in their backline. And even though he falls down, Darius and Amazing were able to clean up Cop, and from that point, we just finish off X Special and win the fight.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a pretty good understanding of your overall team fight strengths right there, and that was the silence Bjergsen was talking about right onto Yasuo. Was that probably the turning point, final turning point in the game when you guys knew you had it?
I would say so, yeah. Because after that, we forced them to have a lot of waves coming towards their base, and we also killed an inhibitor, I believe. And then they can't really defend the Baron, because we did kill Kha'Zix, but even if Kha'Zix was alone, they were going to have a really hard time defending Baron with all the waves and inhibitor or super creeps running towards their base. So I feel like that's the point where we actually were like, I think we can't throw it again. I think we're good.
Yeah.
It's been a tough first two games. You guys had a rough time against Cloud9 yesterday. Tough win over Curse here. With the new players, it's really hard for you guys to kind of gel. On a scale of 1 to 10, how gelled would you guys say you are right now for your maximum potential?
Gel, I guess, is like how good we feel.
Yeah,
your synergy.
How's your synergy doing? On a
I
scale
feel
of
like
1 to 10.
our synergy is pretty good. Especially me and Amazing have pretty good synergy already. I call for a lot of counter ganks, and he's usually there. If we didn't really happen as much this game, but usually in scrims we do really well together. And I feel like the team is just mashes really well overall, and we do a lot of things as a team to keep up the synergy, and we like go to the beach and stuff like that to like stay, because the more you're friends, the more your synergy is gonna prove in game.
Glebe, how's you and Turtle?
We've been getting along really well. We've been dueling a lot, and then as like a duo lane, we just need to keep playing together and keep getting better. But things are going really well.
All right, well, since it's here, guys, congratulations on your win. Thank you for your time. We'll be seeing you guys play 2 more games, both today and tomorrow. But we've got more stuff to do. We've only just scratched the surface of our games today. After the break, we'll jump into our next match between the 2 new teams of the LCS, Complexity and LMQ. Don't go anywhere.
Espresso. Killing special. Be on Twitch. Be on Twitch.
I'm
I'm rooting. Cop. Good job.
Nice.
Alright, good. We can shove him in here. Or we can go Baron. We can Baron.
Go Baron.
Welcome back to the North American LCS and our second game of the day, Complexity versus LMQ. Kobe, these are two teams that couldn't have had a more different start in the LCS, with LMQ sitting in first and Complexity in a 4-way tie for last.
Yeah, and even though they haven't actually faced each other in the LCS, these teams already have a long history, with LMQ defeating Complexity 2-0 in the first Spring Challenger Series. But yesterday, Complexity got picked off by a more coordinated Dignitas, and once they fell behind, we saw them playing with more desperation as players tried to get back into the game with big plays of their own, which did fail and then dropped them further behind.
Hard experience to be in. You just tunnel right in. Meanwhile, LMQ looked amazing in their first 2 games, taking down a top-tier team that was CLG.
So they had a rough early game where they gave up first blood, but they recovered with their superior movements across the map, putting a lot of pressure on different objectives. And then they jumped on every single one of CLG's mistakes and capitalized. And at some times, they could have gone either way. There were several fights where CLG could have won and come back, but ultimately LMQ beat CLG in some of these high-pressure situations, and especially Xiao. He looks so strong on Yasuo, 11-2-6, to the delight of every fantasy player who actually picked him up.
So true indeed. The plays to be made in the Baron Pit and even more today. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, we've got Complexity. In the top lane is West Rice. Broken Shard in the jungle, probably in mid lane. Robert X Lee at 80 carry and Bubba Dub as support.
They couldn't figure out how to show the team because they're all doing the hands-in cheer. But on the red side,
the camaraderie.
Red side, we've got LMQ. Up top, they have Ackerman. In the jungle, No Name. Mid, Xiao. AD carry Vasily, and supporting is Moore. There's everybody back in their box.
Absolutely. So looking at the 80 carries in this one, both of them fared well yesterday. Obviously, we said Complexity came out with a loss, but you can still do well during your loss. And Robert actually fared quite well.
That's what you're looking for with a fantasy team. Someone who does well even in the losses.
So that matchup in the bottom lane, if they do, when's the last time we saw a 2v2, though, unless it was 15 minutes in when turrets were already falling?
Yeah, the bottom lane matchup, actually, Vasily looked really scary because he was able to play aggressively and extend pretty far up, and he didn't die in the first game on Lucian. So when he's able to have that kind of success and not have to pay for it, really, really good things happen for LMQ.
And LMQ is somewhat tested. We know their champion pools. You think of Xiao, and you think of the support utility champions, and then yesterday he brings out something completely different.
Hey, man, I was calling for it. I really wanted to see it, and now everybody knows why.
Everybody knows why, indeed.
That was some good stuff.
And you can't forget Ackerman's plays as well on Shyvana throughout the day were quite well. Everybody on LMQ holding their own, so this is definitely going to have to be, from the bat, a game of strong lanes for Complexity. They can't let go from the beginning.
Ackerman impressed me in a different way because he wasn't one to take over the game, but he was put in this situation where he had to deal with a Jax who had gotten a pretty strong early game, which Jax doesn't usually do, as Shyvana, and he kept on playing with no fear. Every time he would get engaged on by Seraph with the Jax, he would ult as Shyvana, he would stand toe-to-toe with him and just dare Seraph to fight him. And eventually, he just beat him down, and got him to back off, and he got a level lead even by being able to move and pick up more creep waves across the map. So it was a good job of LMQ positioning their solo laner so that he could get a level advantage and he could get right back in that game and he could hold on and keep that Jax from getting out of control.
We'll be sure to keep an eye on Ackerman as well. You can't forget a World Championship top laner.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot forget.
Godlike, as he was previously known.
So we see the Ziggs getting a ban out here in Italy as well. Mids finding quite a bit of love coming out from Complexity and LMQ as Lee Sin also gets taken out for Broken Shard. He was in and out trying to create a lot of plays on that yesterday. Some he died for, but he's still, Broken Shard will always try to make a play.
He is one of those guys that can have amazing games where he just goes off and he does steal the dragon and he gets out. But, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Sometimes it doesn't.
You want to protect yourself against those peaks, though. So they're worried about that just to make sure they do ban out the Lee Sin. However, he is a big fan of Kha'Zix. Now, with the recent changes to the Kha'Zix in 4.7, though, he's a little bit more clunky to use. The biggest thing, I think, was the change to the 2 seconds in between stealth timers. 1 second didn't really hurt your playstyle that much, but it does force you to change your style around in the mid-game teamfights. having to work around that 2-second window.
That feels like forever.
It does feel like forever, and that can cost you your life nowadays because people have really grown accustomed to relying on that damage reduction.
West Rice waiting
Man, they're
for the
just
team.
Yeah, down to the wire
Bit of
here.
Input there. Cassidy makes it through the first time. We didn't even notice on the picks and bans, or bans, I should say. And he goes to Prolly in the mid lane. Going to be an awesome watch on this one.
Very, very strong against mages, even with the nerfs here. Cassidon, very, very strong going into any mage late game, actually. That's why he's been banned out so often across all different regions. He still has that power.
Yep.
After the rework. He's amazing at chasing people down as well, 4 kills. Now, that being said, his shield doesn't protect him at all against attack damage. So you can run different damage types into him and have success. Or you can do something like Soraka. We just saw Soraka have great teamfight success. And LMQ are definitely still very strong team fighters.
Yep.
And definitely do like those types of team comps.
Ackerman getting 2 games in a row on Shyvana. He's already taking that for himself. LMQ feels like they're not going to really need anything Call would feel they need to pick. So they're all right picking support and top. We see Robert actually taking Lucian to come out. Kind of fits his play style of aggression.
So Lucian and Twitch, top 2 AD carries. We'll probably see the Twitch picked up as well for Vasily. But shows something that Robert actually favors Lucian over the Twitch. Maybe they do have a plan with dealing with this Twitch because they already have 2 assassins and they feel like that's enough for them. If Vasily picks up Twitch, they feel like they can get back to that back line and destroy him even if Thresh is there to try and protect. Could be working around that. Meanwhile, he did also pick up that Kazakhstan I was talking about for a long time with Broken Shard. It was definitely one of his favorites, as it was every jungler's favorites back before he was changed. We'll see how he can work around the new style timer, and the isolation damage is much harder to come by nowadays as well.
Still figuring out the jungle they want for No Name. Looks like he might be locking in that Elise as it makes it through as well. Another Twitch to Lucian game. Like I said, I really would love to see these AD carries match up in it. Doublelift has sung the praises of Vasily and playing against him and watching him play. That there are even a few tips and tricks that he's learned himself. So very high caliber player in the AD carry sense, a marksman if you will. Last pick is left for mid on LMQ. Xiao able to round out the composition. His Complexity now waits to lock in the final 2. Like you said, a bit of assassin here. So what are they going to do to round out the composition with some beef?
Yeah, they got to be looking at, they have to be expecting that Twitch, so they know, okay, we're probably going to be running into this AoE, very strong 5v5 composition from LMQ. What are we going to do with that? Are we going to split push, just go heavy assassination, take him out at the beginning? Even if you do that, it's pretty hard sometimes, depending on what kind of peel LMQ can come up with. So we'll have to see here, Complexity. Will they pick a split pushing top laner? Because West Rice, he can. He's got a very large pool, let's say. He uses some different champions that a lot of other top laners do not use. Now the question is this Malphite going to be a Magic Pen Malphite for blowing up Twitch with just his ulti combo? Or is it going to be a Trinity Force Malphite?
Remember,
or is it going to be full tank here?
Wicked played that at the playoffs way back when. Played it to great effect as well, kind of mixing up the damage and tricking out your opponent.
I do like the idea, though, because, as I said, with already Cassid and Kha'Zix, they have assassination potential. They got to expect a Twitch pick after they pick Lucian. So saving that Malphite until the end after Twitch is already locked in, Malphite, that is the guy you want if you're looking to just blow somebody up. So they have a great combo. 3-man dive there. Just explode Vasily at the beginning of the game. But LMQ going the exact same strategy we just saw TSM employ.
Mention Soraka?
I did mention Soraka. They are able to save that till the last pick.
2 seconds, locked in.
This is pretty much going to be the exact same story, except Complexity have a few more tools as far as diving is concerned. We'll see if West Rice can actually be the difference in this matchup.
Be our first Malphite here in the summer split that we'll be seeing. Looks like he still wants to run teleport on that. A few changes recently to Malphite, kind of make him fun in lane. A little bit less cost on that brutal strike, so you can get your lane pushed up and control it. We'll see how West Rice plays it. Like you said, a big champion pool, so it's kind of unknown commodity is what kind of playstyle he's going to go with coming out on that.
Yeah. Last time he was up against Ackerman, and Ackerman was favoring the Mundo. West Rice came out with the Garen counter that surprised everybody and didn't actually work, but
Still surprised.
sounded pretty cool.
Sometimes it'll work. You just got to get the right game. The game's about to go live, so we're going to take a look at this one. The voting from LOLesports.com says that 88% of you think LMQ will come out on top. I think that's our highest now, 2% more than the last vote. It's going to be big. Remember to share your in-game predictions by tweeting at LOLesports. Use the hashtag COLWin or LMQWin as we go throughout the game to root for your team. And see if big plays can be coming in here. Bubba Dub on the end. I just got to give a thumbs up to that mustache. Awesome. That is an awesome mustache. Always love to see it. West Rice very patiently waiting to get into this game. He looks ready and raring to go. A bit of communication between Broken Shard and the rest
He's
of the
shaking
team.
a lot.
Yep.
Just trying to keep warm, though.
That's what
He's
Cop
fine.
used to do.
He
Cop
is
would always do
a,
like hand-leg dance.
Yeah, it's not always because they're extremely nervous here. West Rice is one of the most seasoned League of Legends players on the planet.
First finals,
he's
man.
right up there with Dyrus. We've
All
played
the
the
way
game
back.
for just as long. He's been in the competitive scene for as long as there's been a competitive scene for League of Legends.
And it's great to see that these players filter back in as well. He never really went down. He always stayed at the top level. He was on teams, always trying to make it, getting very close, and it was just kind of like that thread every time. But now that they're back in, the motivation is there. The call name is back into the LCS League, and they're looking to make an impact here. Crowley getting his Kassadin banned out from a Ziggs. He gets that because they thought the Ziggs was that much terror that he now gets this. And we have to remember the first time he made his debut for Complexity in the LCS way back when, he brought out Annie because he said he thought it would be fun.
Kassadin should be fun. He's a pretty fun champion.
Absolutely.
However, early laning phase, not so fun. Soraka is a great champion at shoving. Kassadin, one of his biggest weaknesses is being shoved in. Always has been, still is. It's a little bit less so because he gets so much more damage out of his W than he used to, but it still is a decent problem for him.
There's some movement.
Now, with that W, he can CS much easier under turrets now than he used to be able to. We'll see how Prolly actually fares. It's going to depend a lot on jungle pressure. If junglers have to show early in this game, then Xiao Xiao will have an easier time shoving up and being extremely aggressive versus Prolly. But if the junglers do get time to farm jungle and get back in the fog of war, pose that threat to the mid lane, then it should even it up and relieve a lot of pressure from Prolly. That makes me expect LMQ might want to swap around some things.
Slowly waiting. Not too many forward wards. Everybody's placing them on their own side this time. A little bit less than what we usually see. And it looks like LMQ and Complexity are going to stay on their own sides. First of the first. I can't even say many because I figure every team is going to be invading each other as we have seen lately. So LMQ getting a fresh start as well as Complexity. The lanes will not be swapped. I like it.
All right, so regular jungle path here as well for both junglers. Xiao Xiao will have to be fairly cautious in this mid lane, so he won't get to bully Prolly as much as he would want to. See that magic shield comes out, Xiao Xiao goes for the banana attack instead of the star call. Bananas will get right through your shield.
There it is, getting a little bit on, making sure he doesn't grab the aggro. This will be a fun lane to watch, that shield coming back up every so often, but you can see how much Prolly is missing out on mana. He's going to get that damage down, but the level 2 comes from fast star call. He's going to be right up to his turret. Not fun times for Kassadin. Great play by Xiao Xiao on the aggression.
All right. Meanwhile, top lane, we've got a Malphite starting Crystalline Flask for West Rice, knowing that he's going to try and sustain in that lane versus Shyvana. It's going okay so far. He will have the experience advantage there for Ackerman because he's got the wave slightly in his favor. West Rice, though, doesn't want to push up because he can't really pressure Ackerman at this point in the game, and he doesn't want to have to worry too much about Elise.
That's actually a great counter to think of. Burnout goes on, you steal it with the movement shard, you get a little bit more, and you're out of there. Slows down Shyvana on the engage. Let's see if he plays that to get himself out of sticky situations. No Name is going to be a good gank in that lane if they can get to it. Break that shield to West Rice. Probably still taking a good bit of damage in mid. Crystalline Flask for him as he knows it's inevitable that he will be taking star calls. Broken Shard, show him some presence.
There it
Very
is.
Nice job, Xiaowei Zhao.
Yeah.
Get that 5 CS or so back that he's down on Probably side.
That's why he has to play defensively here, and he does pay off for him. Doesn't go down. West Rice, by the way, for this Malphite, he is running Hybrid Penetration. Helps him out in the laning phase because he does have significant sources
takes
of
so much
both
minion damage.
but that's not going to help.
Wow.
No Ignite, my friend. No Ignite. He does get Flash traded, though, so not a bad Flash from Ackerman because he's still got West Rice's Flash out, and he forces West Rice to back and use his teleport.
That was crazy. Thought he was going to die to the minions in the first place. No Name now taking the same entrance that we had coming in for Broken Shard. Very far up. Probably does have the flash. He has Ignite, though. On the other side, it's not a heal. He has to use that flash. They do get in range. The red buff is on, but they're not able to get through enough of the shield to get below 200 HP. And Broken Shard's right in the back pocket.
Yeah, Xiao actually used his flash in that as well. So even though Prolly was the recipient of the gank, after he returns, you know, yeah, he misses out on a minion wave, but summoner spells equalized there. And Xiao didn't really have kill potential. Flashing in Soraka like that, not close enough to get a lot of damage done.
Oh, very nice pullback by Robert X. Lee. A very nice sidestep is winning them this lane. The Ignite's ticking. One more. First blood. Bubba Dub.
And he pays for hooking the minion there. Bubba Dub comes up pretty big. Zyra does very well against Thresh, can harass him because she can work around minion waves and hide behind them. Whereas Thresh, you know, Zyra can just pop plants up right under your feet, and she puts out a lot of damage. Zyra's this most offensive of the supports. Really has to worry about her own positioning, though, because she is also very squishy.
Oh, Broken Shard going through the brush. He's
So
going to go
deep.
right in. Focusing that. The heal goes out. No Name's going to get himself a kill quickly.
They don't even get
And they
Vasily.
go for a little too much. They were already winning the lane, but they kind of throw it
and
back.
recalls on his dead body, too. Vasily with the okey doke around the turret and goes to recall on Robert's corpse just to add insult to injury.
Backing out. Robert actually playing very aggressive there, we saw on the play. 300 HP, and they still made a move for the first blood. So Complexity knows they have to get ahead early.
That was a deep dive to go for. Even after Broken
yeah.
Shard sees
Took a little
that
too much
no
time.
names there. Feel like the call was already made, and they didn't really react to the new information that they got.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, barely. He misses the missiles, too.
Those point of origin shots, you never know where to fire. You're the wrong way. You're out of luck.
So close. West
1-1.
Rice doing his best here. Gets 2 more.
He's keeping it up. Farming with Malphite isn't the easiest thing, especially with brutal strikes on when you're trying to get it away from the turret.
The thing is, if he keeps having to use his teleport for laning phase, then he won't have it to join the fight. They want him to be able to join a team fight and use his ulti to take Vasily out. If he gets pressured so hard by Ackerman that he has to continually use it to get back to lane, then he's just going to be stranded up there. Yeah, at least he's keeping on with CS, though. He's doing a good job of CSing under his turret, making use of the flask. Got to worry about getting dove, though, consistently here. No Name in this top side of the jungle, warding up this blue side.
Oh, deja vu from the bottom lane now. Broken Shard might be able to find No Name now in the top side tri-brush, but he stays back, it seems. Xiao. Giving hell to Prolly in the mid lane here. Down to 400 HP, almost depleted on mana. A pie to the face of Bubba Dub as Robert actually moves to the side. It looks like Moore's going to be able to get a little bit of damage on. Nice dash over with the Lantern allows for another few shots coming out from Vasily. Great takeout. Broken Shard able to get that smite down and steal the blue.
Good exchange.
Steal it.
Really interesting exchanges down in that bottom lane.
Right.
I'm definitely impressed by Complexity's bottom lane. Robert X. Lee always has been a very strong Challenger League AD carry. Now that he's finally gotten into the LCS, he keeps on talking about how he wants to prove himself against these LCS AD carries, and he got the taste. He wants to show how good he is.
Had the taste with EG. Had a few game plays as they
doing a great job so far. You know, he was
really
able
brought
to wait until he had enough money for his BF sword to time his back, so that he's going to come back with some very powerful trades this time around. Vasily and Moore will have to be a little bit more careful, because Robert can definitely punish them, and any all-ins will probably go his way. That's why they're they're backing off to purchase now.
A lot of plays like that are going to make, maybe not, but could cause Bubadov to position a lot differently. If Moore keeps hitting hooks, they're not going to want to get as close as they are for these engages. Broken Shard picking up his red. They're going to continue.
Yeah, both of the supports that you're talking about, by the way, have Ignite. They're looking for kills, so
Yeah,
everybody in that bottom lane very aggressive.
seen quite a bit of exhaust lately actually coming out for these assassins.
Meanwhile, the ward coverage has been kept up very nicely by Complexity in this bottom side. Not only do they have the river, but also side bush coverage. It's very important in this matchup. A lot of skill shots between both supports. If you can throw out hooks from one of the bushes, it's much easier to land them because you don't have to give away your target with a windup. And also, those wards double as possible teleport options for Westrice to come down. Because a level 6 Malphite coming in behind you as a Twitch and a Thresh would be devastating. Westrice, by the way, is skilling the champion for team fights with maxing his E, not putting a lot of points into Q. He wants that combo. It's all about the ulti E combo to just burst out Twitch. Even if he doesn't kill him, going to significantly slow his attack speed.
Right.
Or getting into trouble trying to ward.
Oh, Broken Shard taking a bit too much front-end damage there as Complexity not really focusing this one right, and LMQ just comes in with more power on the front end. Looks like they are able to still get a grasping root down. Broken Shard hovering around to see if they can get this with Probably on the top side, but they decide to stay at bay, and it looks like LMQ may see if they can squeeze a dragon out of this.
Great backup from Moore and Vasily coming in. The Twitch damage already hitting its mark there. Level 6, using the red attack pretty much as soon as he gets it, and it earns them not only a kill, control of the dragon.
LMQ is kind of just letting Complexity fall into these. There was a big hit up on Moore there to start, but LMQ knew that with Dragon coming up and Complexity on the move, that was nicely played. They're able to take it out. Pink Ward's down in the bottom lane as well to make sure they have coverage.
So Westrice got his teleport interrupted. Sad face.
He was watching he was like, he's ready.
He can do the same thing to Ackerman, though. He can trade his ult for a teleport as well.
It's a good heal. Probably not being able to do much. He gets in the face of Xiao Xiao. That Ignite is there, but he was not in kill range. Westrice low on mana, just sitting to farm at the turret as Ackerman. 86 to 74 there. We've seen Ackerman beat down 2 kills against a Jackson comeback.
Everybody's crying for every CS that Westrice doesn't get under his turret, too.
It's just said
It's painful
not
to watch
the easiest
that.
thing.
Because you want to root for the Malphite. You just feel bad for the Malphite. Oh, Broken Shard trying his best to. Junglers.
Got it.
Junglers CSing under turrets is always fun to watch.
Slow but sure.
Slows his attack speed. Ah, that's going to help his turret a little bit. But man, he's really wearing on this one. Ackerman's getting a lot of work done. Pretty soon, that global gold as well as extra room to work with for LMQ will come into play. They already have a superior team fight with the Soraka plus Twitch combo, but they're also going to have the global gold and the second dragon timer. They have the exact timer for second dragon.
Very close damage on that bottom turret. It would actually help Complexity if they could get that turret down, because then there would be really no escape but the mid lane for LMQ on a dragon fight. A lot of non-roaming going on. You'd think Probably would be out and about trying to kill right now, but good ward coverage from LMQ on both sides of mid, and like we said, Pink Ward's in the bottom lane is really preventing that. The 1-2 kind of steps back before he gets all the damage out that he wanted. Oh, just walked out of range. Doesn't get the full lantern grab.
Vasily takes a lot, though.
Going back, Broken Shard's in a bad spot. Throws on the ultimate. Bubadov's now in the front line. Broken Shard now being forced to kite out of the fight as Robert actually, the fadeaway calling, isn't able to pick anybody up. Probably comes in. May have enough to zero out Vasily. He hides himself. He will live from the Ignite tick. Ackerman going in hard in the fight as he gets the teleport in. The teleport is down for Westrice, and he's forced to push the top lane.
That might just be it. That just might be too much to come back from here. That was a giant lead for LMQ. Let's take a look at this. They get the, oh no! More flashes before No Name takes the lantern
Right.
there. So No Name has to just walk in. A little bit of miscommunication there, not quite on the same page. But hey, we had Ackerman who was not next to Westrice. There was no hope for Westrice to even interrupt him because Ackerman was not in the vicinity. So they get their top laner down here, and Prawley goes for the kill onto Vasily. Not only does he not get it though, kills on the exit path and also baits in Robert as well.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-man death and the turret going down. LMQ with a huge lead, and they have the team that can control the map because there's no way Complexity can contest them in a straight up 5v5. So at this point, Complexity have to get the pick. They can't fight even number battles anymore.
He's top
they
lane
need
already.
that vision.
Ackerman's everywhere. Taking out a turret in the top lane now. This is good
they're
stuff
going for it.
coming from LMQ. Something they have to force in. He says, wait, there's another one here. Oh, the lantern! He gets him out safely. Wow.
Talk about Ackerman being everywhere. Moore gets up to the top lane too in time to
Give me some
save
more.
him. Oh, heartbreaking for Complexity because really their wild card coming into this was the Malphite ulti.
Yeah, that's true. They've been out teleported so far, haven't really been able to force on that. And one scary thing, Kobe, that teams have to recognize now, if they haven't seen it, is then an LMQ game has been carried by a different member each time. Now to the top lane, Vasily looks to get a little bit of love here onto West Rice. The ultimate for him on Unstoppable Force is down. He's gonna do what he can to farm up some minions before he
Pretty
eats the
close to that
grave.
Malphite.
Whoa, wait a minute. Gets a quick contaminate to take that one down. That was closer than he wanted it to be.
Standing right next to that Malphite there. Get his
Strike,
attack speed slow.
brutal
But
indeed.
they have the minion wave there doing a
Yep.
lot of damage for West West as well. Not quite enough to take him down, but Robert's under some pressure down bottom.
Ackerman was kind of thinking about that. He's like, if it's just Broken Shard, I can fight this. But we see Prawley coming down. Can he rift into this fight? They're a little too close to the turret. The calling is hitting.
Soraka!
Gets the wish heal! Oh, he's going to stay alive. Complexity coming up short on so many kills that should be happening. But LMQ, the safety everywhere.
Yeah. Not only are they great in the 5v5, but also Xiao can add his power across
Doesn't
the
even
map
have to
without
be
even
there.
having to
Yep.
move. He can continue to pressure literally all 3 lanes here from LMQ. They have such a substantial gold lead that they can bully any member of Complexity that they want. Even Ackerman trying to fight 3 people almost got kills just with the ulti of Xiao adding in.
Complexity has this team that should be taking the fights. We saw, you know, the Malphite ulti, Bubba with the Stranglethorns. They should have been their dragons, but they haven't had a chance to go at any of these. They haven't had a chance to get West Rice into one of these fights. LMQ moving too quick, making things happen way too fast. 7-1, 16 minutes in with a 7,000 gold lead.
Ackerman is extremely strong right now,
Yeah.
too, with 3 kills for himself. It's not just Vasily.
Nope.
This split pushing Shyvana, definitely going to be hard to take down, as we've seen already. Xiao doesn't have to move either. This is the kind of game Xiao loves. Farm master. Just farm his mid lane all the way up to secondary turret.
176, he's above the mark.
Okay, teleport comes in and Broken Shard jumps
Stopped
out.
it.
So miscommunication again from Complexity.
Or did he?
Not quite on the same page there.
Okay.
West Rice wanted to go for the kill. Broken Shard did not.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, he says. Bubba Dub making his way in for the ward. They have some good pressure here, but they still won't have now Prawley for the fight. A little bit of AoE still lost. They go in hard, and Ackerman says, I'm going in even harder. A great lantern back. West Rice gets down finally to the fight. This is what we were talking about. Bubba Dub can't follow up. He tries to
They
get a
have to
good
protect Robert,
Stranglethorn
though.
down, and now, like you said, the protection comes in. Robert's already too far from the fight. He knew it was dangerous. LMQ takes position again for Dragon.
Nice ulti there from West Rice. Making his way up
Yeah.
to the bottom lane.
Yeah,
However,
coming in.
after that fight trading 1-for-1, because they sustained more damage and their AD carry is not only low on HP, but also mana, they cannot contest this Dragon. So, hey, they made it a 1-for-1 in the end. However, they also
Oh,
lost the
wow.
Dragon. And the Silly gets
Sniper
a
Silly.
solo kill onto the Kassadin. That should not happen.
Crazy how much LMQ, as all the players themselves, initiate these things.
Good
They
luck,
know
Robert.
what they can do.
Good
They
luck.
know what they can get themselves into, and they decide to throw a party for Robert in the bottom lane real quick.
Yep. This is basically...
They're playing inside
Let's
the
see how
edge,
this happened here,
Complexity.
because probably... Oh, so yeah, he wrist walks in. That's the only...
Oh,
Yep.
Blade of the Rune King
All right.
immediately. That didn't work.
That is not Silly being aggressive. That is probably being aggressive there. Wanted that CS a little too much. And now LMQ basically can push wherever they want to. So it's really up to Complexity to use this time to think about what they're going to change, because their beginning for this LCS has not turned out very well for them. They knew, though, coming into this, that they were going to sustain some losses in the beginning.
Yeah.
They said it in their video. There were inevitable losses that would come at the beginning, and they are hoping to learn from all the losses that they do sustain.
Right.
So as long as they're able to take away lessons from each of these games, then they're sort of going according to plan, and they can look more towards the end of the split to have an impact.
You know, with Kassadin being left up the first time, maybe they thought that was less of a threat. If Probably would take that and they kind of bait him into that pick, because right now he's yet to finish on his Rod of Ages. Almost 100 CS behind in that lane. Xiao Xiao, I think he knew what he was doing in that lane.
Yeah, as I said,
they also gave him trouble.
Shoved in is always problem for Kassadin. And LMQ pretty easily showing their hand as well, saying, yeah, we're going to go with that Twitch AoE team. Complexity decided that they had something to show for it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna whip out double assassin Malphite combo, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we didn't really even get to see that strategy played out because they got so far behind in gold early. They were never able to go for those fights. Now Westrice, he has his ulti, but they need to use that ulti on Twitch. Doesn't get it onto Twitch, does get No Name.
Look at Vasily position himself. He's trying to funnel right into that area. They're able to get a good kill. Westrice goes down. It's just a chase from Ackerman now. Level 13 to 10 and 9. He is toying with these players of Complexity right now as the rest of LMQ is looking for blood.
So Complexity going for a risky move because they're so far behind. They need to make plays like that to get back in it. But that one right there is not going to be the one to get him, because invisible Twitch there, and if you use your Malphite ulti on somebody else, he's going to kill you.
Mini Fnatic brush try there. Weren't able to come out with the full Fnatic experience. Inhibitor turret in the mid lane about to get taken down. 20 minutes. LMQ is knocking on the front door of Complexity. They're going to back out before the Inhibitor, but that's easily on the list next.
Something we can point out, though, between this game and the last, LMQ, even though they have a very similar team comp, I just want to point out how special that build was in the last game for Soraka, with Bjergsen going the heavy armor early and cooldown reduction early. Xiao, this is the standard build for the solo lane Soraka. So Thene's into the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Really the other was just adaptation because of the opponents they were facing. Definitely a versatile champion that you can build in multiple ways. Even if you want to go more offensively than this build, you can go cooldown reduction boots. Also very good for her, increasing both her utility and her damage.
2 minutes on Dragon, something that's been controlled by LMQ, and something that LMQ has shown within their games here in the LCS is their movement has been spot on. It's 21 minutes in the game and they're knocking on the front door in almost every lane. They've done something with a purpose every time and really wasted nothing. Once again, they get a grab. They know it might be too dangerous, so they hold off.
They honestly don't even have to knock on that front door. They could just walk right in and take the Inhibitor if they wanted with a 5-man shove. Their team fight is just that strong right now. But they are looking to control the Baron area. Practice the vision game. Have that split push Shyvana with teleport up. See if they can pull Complexity apart.
Yeah, 12,000 gold lead coming in at 22 minutes is nothing. That's going to be easy to stop. Just wasting the Banshee's Veil, but it's not enough. He might even be able to get the turret. Those twin bites coming out. It's going to help a little bit, and he has probably on their side, but this is allowing the mid lane, Kobe. They are going to be able to rush right through here. They've drawn 2, and it looks like they're going to be getting the Inhibitor. 50 seconds on the Dragon. The calling, to Westrice, so they stop the ultimate.
And silence.
But look at how much they're spreading, so Westrice cannot get a good unstoppable force. Nobody is in a pile for LMQ, and they know who to focus now. Backing off, No Name, onto Probably. Everybody gets the silence there. Ackerman onto him, trying to get the kill. Broken Shard forced to jump away, and Complexity kind of didn't even turn to fight there.
Yeah. That's pretty much what's going to happen if they come in sporadically like that. Also, by the way, the Xiao silences on Westrice right after the hook. they don't want to let him have a window. Once he was out of the stun from the hook and out of the silence, everyone's so spread out, and no damage from Complexity would have been able to follow up Vasily. Even though Vasily opened in range of a Malphite ulti, there's no damage there. Here's the damage.
Huzzah! Whoa, where'd Prolly come from?
He's like, okay,
Robert X
number
just
2.
hatched a Prolly, and it looks like they are going to be out of that one. The venom, the poison, and he's dead. Oh.
That's the aggressive Vasily everyone knows and loves. Goes for the ambush onto a single target. LMQ maybe falling apart a little bit here.
Step.
Everybody getting a little greedy on LMQ.
This is the point I was just talking about. They were doing things that worked. Now they're wasting a little bit of time. Now they're losing
3
ground here.
across the map? No, only 2.
Moore's pretty tanky.
It's a small window though.
It's pretty big.
I mean, every kill when you are behind like that does mean a lot more.
Yeah.
Not only for any sprees that you could take down, which they got off Vasily, but also because bonus experience. But still, only 2 is not going to be enough to get them right back in this. Still, LMQ showing that they do get a little bit lazy when they get it so far ahead like this.
Xiao 3 levels higher than Prolly right now. Level 15, the only one in the game. Ackerman's close at 14 along with Westrice, but these guys are able to have a field day right now. Prolly doing a good job at securing the blue. It's going to be necessary if he wants to stay alive in these fights to get any assassinations down on Vasily.
Double pink ward, pretty big pickup for Complexity there, being able to clear that out. However, they have mid lane down. Malphite not the best of minion wave clears, but it's going to be decent. Yes, substantial mana with the Glacial Shroud right there.
See what he can do. Dragon's going to be taken down. Not yet worth max gold, but I don't even think they need this gold. They're so far ahead in this game. Looks like they're only going to get that much more. Bottom lane is one that they need to push. They were able to draw Complexity with 2 members, which means they might be out of sorts. Ackerman, come on, there we go.
So they still want those team fights outside, even with this massive gold lead. As we said, they're still a little bit wary of just sieging up outside of a turret, because if Twitch shows himself, he'll be jumped on by Malphite, Kassadin, and Kha'Zix all at the same time, and it could be Complexity's window back into the game. So they don't want to give him that, playing it much safer, trying to control vision, draw them out into the map. The minion cheers. They've done their work.
That was a
for
struggle.
Complexity.
That was a good fight there on that turret. Oh, that was close. He didn't know what was on the other side of Prolly, though, so a hook may have been quite dangerous. Looking here for Bubba Dub. They get it in. Ackerman just coming out of nowhere already inside the jungle, and Bubba Dub's going to go down to the half dragon. Westrice tries to get himself in. They hook him again, but he does have the unstoppable force. Again, the follow-up isn't there, however, from the team because it is so all sorts right now. LMQ is able to split Complexity in every fight.
Vision control takes its toll there. Complexity drawn out of the base because they're trying to get some more down around Baron. And LMQ do take advantage. Exactly what they were looking for. After they get the Baron buff, then they can actually go siege up a turret. Looks like they don't even have to, though.
Broken Shard goes hard. The rest of the team may decide to go in here. Robert actually trying to get out. He's going to draw them right to Broken Shard. This may be a follow-up kill for him. The Rylus is going to get the slow on. 1 kill comes up. Do they have the range and the flash? Taken from Broken Shard. At least 1 HP on him. They lock it down. Great job coming out from Twitch's Tammin.
Yeah, congratulations to LMQ. What a decisive game here.
Coming out very strong. He's trying to pull him. He's like, follow me this way. This is the way you want to go outside the base. 27 minutes, 18-5. LMQ, a very definitive push into the base. Getting a little scary here in Chaotic. Looks like they'll be safe enough to take down Westrice. No unstoppable force there. And LMQ being the unstoppable force here. 3-0 to look now on the summer split. Probably with one last infuse. No, Star Call on the Banana's going to do it. Robert X Lee on the Fountain. The Randuin, so they can't even get off with the home guards. And it looks like the Nexus turrets will be going down in 28 minutes.
And they get the hook onto Broken Shard.
A few more kills. Why not? They're going to be able to trade a few back for retribution kills. Robert X Lee ties his shoes on the Fountain, but he watches the Nexus go down for a 28-minute win here. LMQ over Complexity.
Another 10-plus kill game here. Vasily 10, 1, and 5 on that rat. The only death was because he ambushed, and he ambushed 2 people, 1 versus 2.
Trying to get a little too hypey there. Again, a strong play. Does not look like they even went outside their own boundaries on that game. They're still playing well within their reach. They don't have to figure anything else out during the game. They've already got it planned, and it shows. These are definitively played and won games so far.
Looks like Complexity have a rough road ahead of them. Absolutely. Of the 2 new teams coming in, LMQ definitely have taken the LCS by storm. 3-0 now at the top of the leaderboards. To be fair, they haven't played the top teams from last split yet, the top rated teams. So we will see how they stack up against the likes of Cloud9, against the likes of TSM later.
And we do have to give Complexity credit the early part of this game. Bubba getting first blood, the aggression. And it's not the first time. Even in Complexity's loss yesterday, we said Robert Exley and Bubba did great in the bottom lane.
Lane phase, yeah.
The laning phase
They have a
goes
strong
well.
laning phase.
But as soon as we even saw them get that 1 kill, it seemed like they almost got a little too excited. We're ahead of LMQ. Let's get something more. And then they started falling under the turret. And what they had almost fell away immediately.
And jungler attention down there, too. No Name was there for a couple counter ganks and even just outright ganks, initiating them a couple times. So that can be played on. If people know that this bottom lane here for Complexity are confident and they are going to play aggressive sometimes, try and punish it.
Got to remember Ackerman as well, really fearless in his gameplay. I think it's a great word for it. Coming out strong, and I mentioned right before they broke out into a huge fight that it's been once Xiao, it's been once Vasily, and Ackerman and Vasily both played super well this game. Everybody in LMQ did, but it's always been a different person to carry the game.
Yeah.
That's
it's easy to
scary
play
for other
without
teams.
fear when you're up against Malphite in lane phase, because not much
he's not going to kill you.
He's not going to do
teleport.
much to you.
You saw Ackerman flashing in at level 3 just to try and get the kill for him. Didn't get it, but still, the aggression always there from LMQ. Right now, we're going to throw it over to Freak and Jat at the analyst desk to walk us through LMQ's win.
Thank you very much, Riv. So another very commanding win for LMQ, 3-0 for them. They've really not looked back at any of these games.
Yeah, I mean, we saw all the way from the challenger scene. There wasn't really a team that had came into the LCS with higher expectations.
Yeah.
Even when Cloud9 qualified, people were like, all right, they're going to be pretty good. A lot of people from LMQ were putting them near the top of the standings. Many of the LCS teams, including like COG, were saying, oh yeah, 4th best. And that's where most of us put them as well, because we weren't really sure how they're going to perform. We're still not entirely sure how they're going to perform, because the game against COG was very close, and they've kind of beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they're still doing it in pretty impressive fashion.
Yeah, they're 3-0. They're going to end the day in first place. They've got a chance at a 4-0 Super Week. The big tests are how they do against the rest of the top 3, right? CLG with the new roster was a close test for them. They've still got TSM, Cloud9 ahead of them in the next couple of weeks or so. So that's going to be fun to watch. Now, LMQ, though, I think they come in. They're one of only 3 undisturbed rosters in the LCS right now. And they look really good as a group. What I really like is the fact that they are not shy to go for fights, and that they're very confident in knowing what they can get away with. The exception of like Vasily going into what was a 1v2, like anytime Ackerman dives in, he actually wins the fight. I've never seen him dive into the wrong battle. It's really impressive.
Especially when he was behind yesterday in their game against COG. He was doing the same thing. We were talking about Ackerman, how he wasn't necessarily terroring the challenger scene in the top lane.
No.
And he's not, it doesn't seem like he's a player that really cares too much about destroying the other person in lane. He'll get his farm down, and then he's all about timing and jumping into the right times. Every time he was using Dragon's Descent in that last game against Complexity, he was getting a kill.
Yeah, he plays his lane to get ahead, because of course you're trying to win, but like you're right, aside from flashing in and getting some damage to Westrise, trading summoner spells, all he's doing as Shyvana is pushing, dealing damage to the hurt when he can, but just being ready to make moves, right? When he canceled Westerice's TP on Malphite and then got to teleport to the bottom lane later himself, that was awesome. In fact, our first replay is a big bottom lane fight that Ackerman gets the TP, and if you can pull that up on your screen, this is the one that really puts LMQ far ahead here.
Yeah, the timing on this was what was right about it. Let's just get into the clip and roll it right away, because LMQ had already made that one mistake in the bottom lane, and they made a bit of another one there. More actually flashed before No Name could get in, and that almost was a trigger for Complexity to get really aggressive, but the teleport was also coming in from behind them, which basically screwed Complexity over. That was the timing of the teleport by Ackerman, and at this point, it's just Complexity baiting themselves. They overestimated the damage of a level 8 Kassadin. Kassadin really needs until the end of the game to start doing damage now after the current nerfs. And going in that early just gave Ackerman that triple kill, and he never looked back.
Yeah, he thought he could one-shot Vasily. Put the Ignite down, did everything. He actually probably did roam out of mid before Shadowway shouted. Like, Straka was still mid at that time. Like, was killing minions. I watched the minimap there. But yeah, even if Vasily died, he was out of the fight regardless. Like, even with him staying alive, he pieced away. It was Ackerman, like, at that point, 2v3ing with more. And it was double Doran's Blade, Bilgewater Cutlass, and then just, like, a Negatron Cloak to not die. And it's like, yeah, Ackerman just does that much damage.
It really seems like it. And my questions for LMQ are, is there aggressive tendencies going to come back to haunt them? Because they've made mistakes in all of these games. Moore made a bunch of mechanical mistakes in lane. If we're being fair, I don't know what I've done when he hooked into that minion and ended up giving up first blood.
Yeah.
And even Ackerman, he fell behind against the COG game, but they're coming together as a team. I want to see them against the likes of Cloud9. Once they get 4-0, and now the expectations are really on. Because at this point, if they're a team as good as LMQ, especially with Godlike, a guy who was on Royal Club, who finished second in the World Finals, they've already played a whole split together. They're actually more a stable roster than all the other teams in the league. Coming in and beating up on a team recently joining the LCS, they feel like they can do that. I want to see them against Cloud9.
Yeah. And so also I want to kind of touch on the story. We talked about it a bit yesterday. Is LMQ still in play style, a Chinese team and American team?
Right.
And the fact that they're diving in, and again, their players all came from China proper, like, okay, yes, they've got some of that play style there. And the fact that they're doing these confident dives for fights that they know are going to work is a very Chinese style. And when we saw, for example, OMG versus SKT at All-Star about 2 weeks ago, SKT had better ward control and got to capitalize on those dives. They got to say, well, we know something you don't. You think you're going 4v3. It's actually 4v5, and then turn it back around. And we saw that glimpses of that. Like Vasily, again, going for the 1v1 on Robert X. Lee, but surprise, Prolly's actually there and turns the fight around. Like, these are the things that you can prey on. And we've heard some of the other commentators talk about, like, if you're very aggressive, you become predictably aggressive, and you can play around in those things. So as this league matures, even against teams like Complexity, they're having a rough start. I think all these guys will learn and play against that playstyle a bit better.
I think so, and I think they're kind of all going to turn into closer to the same playstyles as well.
Yeah.
Also, the way the game is going right now, even though we didn't see the lane swaps in this game in particular, it's a little bit more carry-focused.
True.
As we've seen, the mid laners and the AD carries are really head and shoulders above other people as far as CS is concerned. And Vasily and Xiao are two of the best in position as far as LMQ is built. Ackerman as well, not necessarily needing to destroy lane, but knowing what to do in team fights. They're really well suited for the way the game is trending right now, which could mean a really great amount of early season success. Unless the game changes later on, then we'll have to see how they adapt.
Exactly. Chinese teams are all like really, really good at shoving their lanes out and just roaming arbitrarily, or seemingly arbitrarily, at times your opponents don't expect, and getting kills out there. Speaking of moving around and making roams, we're going to see some of that, I think, with the 2v0 lanes, that we'll see more rotations around the map. But we have a second replay we want to show for you guys. It's a team fight about 27 minutes in. LMQ go for this one. And this is, again, it's, okay, they're up 12K at this point, so they know they're going to win some fights, but just the fact that they're going to go in confidently and dive all the time and just get good fights out of it.
Yeah, and as far as Complexity is concerned, too, they have this never say die attitude, and they're honestly forcing a little bit. When they're down in the game, this is almost a signal of a larger problem where they're always trying to make plays regardless of the situation in the game. And let's just roll this clip to kind of see why. They're getting zoned out by 2 people, and it's a 2v3. When you know the other team has 5, you don't actually have a reason to look out this far in the Baron pit. This is a Baron you should give up under almost every circumstance. Because they didn't, LMQ chased through. They got the Poison Tick to finish off Broken Shard. There's a Rylai's Crystal Scepter on Soraka. There was nothing Complexity could have realistically done there. LMQ knew that they could put up a defensive line. They could easily take Baron with 3, and they just executed. That was simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. And you think about just the game we saw earlier today, Curse versus TSM. TSM commanding lead early on, 8,000 goldish. Ward control set up Baron, and Curse is patient, look for hooks, eventually they find it, get back in with some fight. Like, you can play a little bit of a slower game from behind, find that opening, and, look for the Malphite pick. Look for the arbitrary get us around on the bot lane when someone's farming alone, and, push that around, not dive into the front lines.
I agree. And Complexity has a rough first week as well.
True.
Right? The teams that they're playing against are very strong right now, and they admittedly came into this not saying they're going to be number 1 all the time. They know they're going to take some lumps at the start of the LCS, as honestly they will. A lot of these teams are coming in with much more experience than them.
Yeah.
LMQ, even though they were a challenger team during the same time as Complexity Black, are a more experienced team.
Yes.
I'd have to say, at least on big stages.
Yeah. So,
And Complexity Black, they're not Complexity Black anymore.
Yeah.
I keep calling them that because that's what they were in the challenger scene. They just need to kind of let the game come to them and rely on their mechanical play because they're really good in lane.
yes, they are. They got slightly outmatched here, but generally speaking, yeah, especially that bottom lane. We talked about that. Robert Ixley and Bubba Dub, I think, is a place that they could get a lot of strength from. We'll see if it can go throughout the rest of the season. They've got 26 more games to go.
Plenty.
We got plenty. It's enough to get stuff going on. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, Dignitas will take to the Rift against Evil Geniuses. But first, every week we get to see all the fans who flock to the studios to share in the excitement of the LCS. We caught up with one teacher in Iowa who has been sharing his love with League of Legends with his students.
I am a science teacher at East High School in Des Moines, Iowa. I teach physics. When I was in high school, I had a group of friends and we started networking our computers. I have fond memories of LAN parties and getting together and insulting and laughing with friends as they kill you with rockets. I wanted to find something that got kids together like my LAN parties did. My video, I made it to be posted on the Des Moines Public Schools homepage. I didn't think I would get this much attention.
I love Mr. Lank. He was my teacher in freshman year. I didn't know he played League till like a couple years ago.
Whenever I visit after school, it's really fun to talk to him because we always talk about League.
He's a great teacher. He's amazing and he inspired me to actually get really into the science field.
Most teachers don't know what League of Legends is about. When they hear me make announcements on the intercom, a lot of them just roll their eyes and say, well, what is this video gaming club? That being said, they all support it. And they understand that building connections, especially with our group of students, we have a lot of students who don't graduate from high school in this part of Des Moines. I wanted it to embrace both a motivating factor for schoolwork and having fun with friends and meeting people you might not talk to. There's a classic thought that video games are bad for schoolwork, and I'm trying to change that narrative with this club. If you have someone on your team who's terrible, do not insult me. I have feelings. I get sad when I'm told I'm a noob and I died to wraiths. Okay. So go! Charge!
As the president, I am organizing these events. We actually started out with 8 people from the beginning at just a student's house, and then 13, 20, 25, and I'm pretty sure there's 50 as we speak. So, really excited.
I feel like the LAN parties here are a lot more fun and connective. People coming from different places.
We have students that did start off with Fs and that couldn't come to the very first couple LAN parties.
I told Mr. Link that I was really excited to go to the LAN party, and he checked my grades, and they were kind of failing. This club motivated me to the point where I knew that I had to come in.
I had to raise my grades, so for past month and a half, I've been having to stay in after school.
You can see the joy on their faces because they've been in my room for the last month working after school for this.
His job is to make sure I'm doing good, and for me to let him down after he's done so much for us is something I'd feel embarrassed to say.
I like to play, and I like to destroy my students with a Fiora ult or, kill them all with my Karthus. But where my actual heart lies, it's when they come in and they have an unstoppable smile on their face, and they're going to tell me, Mr. Lank, I have a passing grade in chemistry now, and I've got it.
I certainly think that they're going to be a stronger team than last split. Now, is that going to be enough to propel them to top teams in this split? I'm going to say probably not, but I think that, again, you must not go into this split underestimating everybody.
Welcome back to day 2 of the 2014 Summer Split. We're going to keep the action rolling with our next game. It's going to be Team Dignitas versus Evil Geniuses. So far, the verdict on the new Dignitas roster is Swap is guilty of looking good.
Yeah, Shifter had an absolutely monster game against Complexity. With the first day pentakill, he got 15 kills and didn't die on the block. That game tied him for the 2014 record for most kills in a single game in North America. And he already seems to be working very well with Crumbs as well. So Dignitas will be in high spirits coming into this game, as you can see.
Smiles on the faces. While Dig is settling nicely into their new team lineup, this will be Evil Genius' first game in the LCS with their new 80 carry Altec.
Yeah, he's making the move from Cloud9 Tempest, where he was one of the strongest 80 carries in the Challenger League. Now he'll be the youngest player in the North American LCS. And while he has played with Pobelto before on Curse Academy, this is going to be a new support, and they haven't had very much time to practice with each other. So we'll have to see. You know, for Crepo, he's getting a new partner after playing with the same AD carry for 3 years with Yellow Pete.
Yep.
So there may be a few bumps in the road while they develop their communication and their playstyle. When you're in a dual lane especially, you don't even have time to talk sometimes about how you're going to react to certain situations.
Yep.
When someone goes aggressive on you, does one person back off and the other person tries to answer it? With Yellow Pete, it was a more passive play style. Altec definitely goes a little bit further up in the lane, trades more often.
It might even be something that Crepo has been wanting to get out of a play style as well. We'll have to see. Let's check out the starting lineups right now on the blue side. It is Dignitas. In the top lane, Zion Spartan. Crumbs in the jungle. Shifter in mid lane. 80 carry is I'm a Cutie Pie, and supporting him, Kiwi Kid.
Can I just say, Cutie Pie right there, the braids, our makeup lady just braided his hair today.
That was awesome. Props to her.
And
the setup for Cutie for allowing.
Kiwi Kid seems to have an interesting haircut as well. I think, would you say he lost a bet? Anyways, there's the close-up on the braids.
Yep.
Anyways, on the red side, we have Evil Geniuses. Up top, Inox. In the jungle, Snoopy, mid Pobelter. There's Altec on your screen, AD carry, and Crepo still on support.
Crepo's been tweeting. He's like, it's going to be my first day with my man Altec, so there has been a bit of camaraderie and play between them,
My boy,
obviously. My boy, right, my boy Altec. But we have to
young.
consider, there were subs for the team recently that they were trying out, so that's still kind of on the minds.
They just had their tryouts, and they just decided on who they're going to use. So like we said, time to develop your bottom lane synergy, cohesion, chemistry, whatever you want to call it. It's going to take a while.
It's going to be pretty effective, I think, especially that Crepo kind of has an idea of what he wants in the lane, and he can kind of formulate the way Altec plays that now. Also, allowing him to play his own play style. It's not like you take somebody's golf swing and completely change it. You ease it into where it's going to be better, and Crepo's going to have a fun time doing that throughout the split.
As Crumbs said, he doesn't think this change is going to be enough to boost them up to top-level LCS play, though. So we'll have to see if Dignitas can actually bring their new subs and show them how it's done.
Well, being the only team, Evil Geniuses, to come back out of the promotion tournament, it's got to give them some motivation that they do not want to be there again. That was a very scary situation.
That definitely. You do not want to be in the spot where you're getting kicked out, of course.
Well, right now it's going to be a tough one. Dignitas picking up Shifter and Zion Spartan, who have played quite well. We can see Rip roaring through the bans. Cassidy will not be in this game.
Early TF ban there right off the bat. Very, very interesting. Some inside info coming from EG.
Oh, man.
Zion Spartan Jax.
I don't know if Dignitas had the same ideas, Coast, as we're going to get Zion off of the carries, but looks like they're going to let him do that carry position.
Yeah, that would be no surprise. That first ban TF still bugging me. I think they really see Pobelter as one of the biggest stars of this team, and they don't want him to be able to influence other lanes very easily. Taking out the TF. TF is not really a lane counter to anybody, so it's mostly about those mid-game movements and being able to cover large distances very quickly. Having him on your team just makes any sort of movement very easy for you to pull off and gives you a lot more pressure in the 2 side lanes.
Maybe a possibility of they've been scrimming a TF Nocturne, something that they can cancel kind of with the TF.
Could be banning
Right?
out a specific strategy from scrims, you're right.
Trying to find out who they can hit first. So far, it looks like Pobelter is going to be the one on that, but like we said, could be the overall strategy as Kha'Zix, again, looking to get some play time here on the second day of Super Week in the summer split. Inox looks like he'll be carrying top lane himself. He gets to carry with Lee Sin, so we're going to have a good fight if we get another lane matchup on all the lanes.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. He's been very outspoken about liking the carry junglers much more. Now, he could switch with Snoopy as well. He could be the Kha'Zix. He's used the top lane Kha'Zix already. So either of those 2 champions could go in either spot. However, Snoopy, he doesn't really come off as a Lee Sin player for jungle. So I expect it to be in Inox's hands. And that being said, attack speed slow is always great against Jax. Meanwhile, Crumbs is pretty much left with Elise for his jungle. Not a bad thing. He really enjoys the champion as well. I haven't seen him use the heavy cooldown reduction new Elise since the changes, though. So that might be a good move by EG, putting Crumbs onto the newer Elise. Haven't seen him whip it out anytime recently.
Lulu does get locked in. Most likely going to Shifter as we see the Thresh on the board. Pobelter, I'd say pretty decent Orianna. Overall, his general mechanics between his champion pool, which is quite large, is pretty big. He can play it just above that average to pro level. I don't know if he feels sure enough to pull this one into the game.
Well, they do like him on more support mid laners that have shields of some kind so that they can make up for the lack of tank, with Inox loving to play carry top laners. Orianna definitely does fill that role, allowing more resistances and shields from the ball. Plus, they have so many opportunities to actually get the Shockwave in there. Well, the way it's looking, though, they might want to use that Shockwave defensively because they don't have a lot of protection for Twitch. Just a kickback from Lee Sin and defensive Pobelter play. The West Rice shout out. Hovering over the Malphite.
There's the Elise getting locked in. Cutie Pie is going all the way to A to Z. And he'll finally lock something in. See what he wants for this game. No, Cutie Pie, for a lot of his aggression, being able to control a lane quite well. And why not pull out the Draven?
Talk about aggression. This lane gains a lot from playing very far up in the lane. Thresh, every single soul will be his, and Cutie Pie can stack up all of the adoration that he needs. Now, them running into a Twitch lane. Let's see what Crepo wants to run into Thresh here. Zyra has been a good choice. He's a really big fan of Morgana, though. And Morgana does as well provide similar things. She has pick potential as well as disengage. Little bit more shield there for Twitch. They can keep him safe from the Counter-Strike stun from Jax, so that would be huge for them, actually. Black Shield in this situation really does protect against all of the CC from Dig. Anything landing
That's a
from
good pickup
Dig
for safety.
could be nullified from a quick Black Shield from Crepo. Crepo has to be right on point, though, and target anybody who does get caught out.
So they lock in this crowd control assassination team on the side of Evil Geniuses and just a well-rounded in-your-face fight squad. The Draven being picked up, the Jax as well, a wild growth to go on the Jax as he jumps in. It's going to be a pretty big team fights.
I like this matchup because both teams went with heavy damage top laners. You got Lee Sin, who's very strong at split pushing, and Jax as well. Lee Sin definitely has advantage early. We'll see if Inox can leverage that into some early power for EG.
And that Alltech using the hand warmers already. He's a shoo-in. He knows what he's doing. Let's take a quick trip over to LOLesports.com to see who you've been voting for to take this game, which 77% of you are predicting Dignitas will take the W here, even with EG's new addition. But you still have a chance.
Yeah, and we will also be checking in later with the Twitter vote throughout this game. So send your picks by tweeting at LOLesports and using either the hashtag DIGWin or EGWin.
A lot of eyes on to Alltech. Didn't see anything in the AD carries focused. Hasn't been something lately. But we also haven't seen too much Draven. Something that Cop, both Cutie Power playing towards the end of the season. So we'll see if that lane domination has kind of been forgot about here, as Alltech known to be quite an aggressive guy himself in lane. And now with Crepo could definitely put that extra oomph that they need to take down a Dig 2 squad.
Crepo definitely talking to him calmly there.
Yeah.
Trying to keep his nerves under control
Yeah.
as he is fresh to the LCS stage here. He's played up there for Challenger Series, but this is North American LCS. Much higher pressure.
It's
See if it gets to him.
You know that everything you do has weight to it right now. More so than ever before in a debut. Alltech now, the pressure on, really more than anybody else. EG also getting behind him for this one, so definitely not in it alone. We'll see what the teams decide to do. And so far, it's looking for a swap so they can give Alltech an easier time in lane.
Crumbs starting with a real ward here. One of the few vision advantages. He can place it down either defensively, and it will actually stay there to see out a delayed invade, or they can get full vision on one of the buffs here from EG. He walks right past the ball. Really wants to get this down.
Paul Welter just staying in range. You can see his indicator in that orangish to red. He's got a little bit more range to move, but he's safe for now with this top lane Quattro waiting. Oh, man. Crumb's getting a good ward in here. So nobody sees that that ward was placed. They did know that they went in the brush, so they don't know where the ward is. They just figure it's somewhere around red.
Yeah, the thing is, they saw his inventory, so they know that he had a real ward, too. So that's 3 minutes they will be aware of.
EG, last time they did this, remember that ward they saw get placed in the brush just to the left of Inox, and they went to the top lane and kind of hovered there for a second. They're always a team that tries to get an upper hand here. Dignitas is going to start
hovering their jungler around top side, though. Will they try and stop this delayed invade? They're definitely expecting it. And Crumb's starting on this top side. It would be hard for them to defend it. I mean, they just don't have the numbers. They're 80 carry and support bottom.
They pinged that with perfect timing, knowing that it was going to go down. Not following it. Yeah, ride it in, the Lee Syndrome. He does not decide to. So it looks like blue is going to be taken away as they formulate on the side of Dignitas. Do the same.
Yeah,
EG's blue.
That is the most common start now that we've seen with the new trinkets. Lowest risk, pretty much. So that's what a lot of people have been defaulting to. Quick answer there from Dig, though. He'll just be a little bit behind.
See how they take to the jungle. Usually it's the top and jungler, some split, and allow them to farm the Wraith camp alone and the other, depending on who your champion is. Right now, Zion Spartan's going to be doing that alone, all by himself. Snoopy and Inox sharing right now. They're really looking to get an assassination out with Snoopy. We know him as kind of somebody that helps to snowball lanes and not get himself going early. So we'll see how the Kha'Zix goes.
They leave up the small camp, and then they go back and clear it. So they have the exact timer. This is such an interesting little mind game they've done here. Dignitas, when they go see that camp is cleared, they'll assume it was immediately cleared and just go with the standard 7-minute, 10 seconds or whatever time for a respawn. However, because they left a small minion there for another 30 seconds or so, what was that, another 45 maybe even? They're going to delay that spawn at a very weird time. So EG do have the timer for this second blue buff, but it's not what you would expect. Even if Dig do go by and see that it was cleared out. Very, very smart early jungle play right there.
Teleport to the top lane by Zion. He's going to stay safe here. Quas did the same thing, and they're actually starting to fare well if they can keep enough vision and keep that opposing jungler out of the side. Like you said, Kobe, going to keep an eye on that 7-minute plus mark when we are going to see Dig's blue spawn again. Very interesting play from EG early in the game. Now with Snoopy towards the top lane, they didn't exactly go for the gank onto Zion Spartan, but they're going to push him out.
Decent damage to it. Just trying to zone him from the experience, though. That's what they'll get. It's all about the creep wave denial.
Nice clear out. Crumbs brought the sweeper, as we said. Had a regular ward to start the game. A good glitter lance slow. Repel in, get the shield on. He's actually been polymorphed, so they get the crowd control a little stacked on top of each other there. They're still able to push Pole Belter out of lane.
So because junglers showed top here for EG, Crumbs knew there would be no counter gank. However, they only get exhaust out. Still flash available for Pole Belter.
Looks like Shifter behind just about a wave already.
Ooh, what a
Though he's
collapse.
throwing out glitter lances. Snoopy from the backside. Inox is there as well. They got to be careful if Kiwi Kid gets a good play. It's going to be Zion Spartan with the upper hand here. Black Shield is already out of the fight. Inox is right in the middle, the #1 focus. Oh, Kiwi Kid picking up the kill for himself.
Sloppy collapse from EG. They saw the shove mid and tried to answer it, but mismatched timings of everyone's arrival to the mid lane. So half the team running away while Inox is going in, they get caught up, and since Dignitas are all together, cohesive unit, they get the kill. Kiwi Kid lands the hook. Great job there from Dignitas.
Oh, man.
Much more coordinated play. It's EG always trying to play catch up here. They're following them even through their own jungle.
This is very telegraphed. You can see everybody now trying to choose a path of escape route as they were all going for a kill onto Inox, but he plays some tricky moves with a war jump, gets himself to safety, and they even leave the turret up. It's prepped to be taken down whenever they want it, but still, you can keep AmaCutiePie farming, good to go.
Impressive that the calls here from Dignitas are so coordinated, by the way, with switching out those 2 new players. So good start for them. Crumb's definitely pretty happy with the way the new team is set up as well. He's definitely one of the more vocal members of the team, especially early game. Crepo and Inox definitely want to answer here for Zion, though.
Zion using that wave to stay a bit safe from anything out of the brush, but he knows he can't go any farther than the tail end of it. Very dangerous position. Not a lot of vision to more than 3 members of the opposing team on the map. So he too could be lurking right in that brush, and he is more than correct.
Interesting that they left this turret so low, too. Dignitas have...
He's just toying with them.
Dignitas have 650 gold sitting there. 1 hit left on that bottom turret. Whereas the top turret, EG were not able to put as much damage down because it was just Altec up there farming. That turret will actually take a lot more work to take down. Whereas Dig can easily tip this bottom one over with just sending down a little bit of pressure.
All right, so we see Pole Belter throw down a ward just towards the bottom side of Dragon. Not a pink yet, but they could be setting up for whatever happens here. Coming out in about 40 or so seconds, 50 seconds as this blue spawns. And we'll see if their little mind game in the beginning pays off. Snoopy's in the top lane for right now, 5 and 4 versus the same from Dignitas. AmaCutiePie is more than happy to keep that pushed up. Inox could get the leap on the flash and the Empower Strike. Second kill of the game for Zion. 1v1 the bot lane.
They both like the carry solo laners. And Zion, he goes
back in for that.
He goes to purchase, uses the item advantage as soon as he gets back. Forces the engage there with Inox and shows his prowess there. Inox, I believe his flash was blown from the earlier time where he died mid as well, so that would have saved his life. Zion definitely doing a good job taking advantage of the summoner spell, a discrepancy between the two, but that is a very, very bad sign for Evil Geniuses. If a Jax at level 4 is getting the kill solo on your Lee Sin, he's going to be a problem for the entire game now. He's going to be a persistent threat.
So the 7-minute blue buff just seemed to be a little bit of a mind game on the extended clear out there. They didn't go for it. Just wasting Dignitas' time as they go for theirs. 2 kills on the board here, 18 minutes in. It's about 1,000 gold lead for Dig, but with the way they've been playing definitively, 1,000 gold lead can mean enough to start to take the game.
Well, the experience is even bigger here. Zion was 2 levels up Inox before he just shared experience on the blue buff, which is very smart. You know, you get bonus comeback experience from those jungle camps. So Inox really needed that to get back in this, and even be close to Zion.
Zion's okay in this situation. I don't know what they're trying to do right now. That's not going to be a good situation. Even with the Dragon's Rage from Inox, they're not good. Man. He is going to be able to get at least 1 kill. No, the safeguard. Oh! He pulled right to him and almost actually got Snoopy killed. Zion knowing the game inside out.
Well, they also get a kill up top, so things are definitely falling apart for EG very quickly. And Dignitas are showing that with these substitutions, their laning phase has gotten so much better. They're strong in all 3 lanes now, just at the beginning of the game, and they take advantage of it. Not only do they get that last hit there from minions on the bomb turret that was about to fall over, but they've taken out the top one as well, just low enough, they can knock it over whenever they want. They can continue to leave it there, deny as many minions as they possibly can.
Oh my god. Gotta get those stacks. He's up to 25 right now. He just cast it in.
All right, so Altec takes a beating from PewDiePie, and he's unable.
He tried to save Crepo,
He probably opens back up. Yeah, he opens back up here. But yeah, Crepo gonna go down for it.
Yeah, it was a good save. Support for the AD to stay alive. 10 minutes in, a 4-0. Clean cut as Dignitas is getting what they need here. 3,000 gold in the lead. Looks like they'll be able to do whatever they want at Dragon pretty soon once everybody gets back into the lanes. They have ward coverage. 2 pinks in the inventory. So with this turret going down to the top, actually, they prep and save. PewDiePie is going to be able to farm it out.
Well, that being said, you know, all the action in the side lanes here. Mid lane. Shifter versus Pobelter. Fairly uninhibited, and Pobelter has come out with a decent CS lead.
Yeah, he's held it.
From the mid game, from the early game here. So they were right in focusing him with a couple bans.
EG still trying to put on a few initiations here, but just right off the cusp. Cannot seem to get them to hit.
Turret is down here, so if they go for this,
oh, they got it! Oh, he gets hit up! Oh, he didn't know Snoopy was there! He could get himself or Kiwi Kid killed right now, but it looks like they're going to be able to turn around a 2v3 situation with an assassin coming in.
They were definitely not on the same page once again. That was a very half-hearted gank from EG there. Didn't look like they really wanted to mess with PewDiePie and Kiwi Kid.
Kiwi Kid.
And even all the taunting
Man.
from PewDiePie there.
Little sass.
They still scare him off 3v2. So Evil Geniuses seem to be falling apart at the seams here.
They have to be careful,
Not on
though.
the same page.
They did blow a lot of summoners just to get out of that, as they were trying to sass in the top lane. 12 minutes in, it doesn't seem like we have Kazakhs ready to gank
And they're
still.
forcing
Nobody's
it now.
ultimate. I thought it
this
was down.
could turn very badly. They're forcing it up there. Everyone's still just waiting in the bushes.
It's not the first time either that they're waiting for something. We saw Crepo and Inox in the bottom lane for quite some time, and then Zion Spartan was able to take out Inox when they left. So Dig is more than happy to let these guys stand around in the brush. PewDiePie still stacking up the CS. They've been even for quite some time, but now he's 100 to 86 as he's lost his support a few times here in this matchup, giving Dig the lead.
And you can see why they're happy to let EG stand around and brush. 21 CS Snoopy Kazakhs to 41 for Crumbs.
Good
Crumbs
call.
also has 2 assists to his name, helping at the lanes with kills. It's looking pretty dire here for Evil Geniuses.
Pobelter trying to get back, get more CS under his belt. He's been taking race to keep himself ahead of Shifter, which is still good. Orianna ults in the end of the game can definitely change the story. We'll have to see if Shifter can, or rather Pobelter can hit a few of those ultimates. Waiting for Dignitas to get back on the map. All teleports are up. His dragon is down right now, so everybody's trying to get the waves clear. Just grab that pressure. Dig, pushing what they have right now. They don't really need to go outside of the boundaries at this point.
They have all lanes winning. They took with both side turrets, so next logical move is to move towards the last outer turret. However, that one is protected by Pobelter, who is the strongest member for Evil Geniuses. Been able to farm up a storm so far.
Whoop. Not much you can do to stop him from getting out of that. Speaking of Crumbs, really... Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of bottom lane, good ward coverage, keeping Zion Spartan safe. And again, Snoopy comes down. I wouldn't say wasted time, a wasted gank on that one. They're not going to lose mid turret for it, which works out in favor of EG, but they are scrambling. That reactive play means you're behind.
They're very far behind. You can tell because even though Dignitas are spread out in all 3 lanes, gaining 3 lanes worth of experience and spreading themselves thin, EG are still on the defensive inside their own jungle, collapsing to try and salvage at least the buffs for themselves. They've got the blue one. Can they get there in time to save this red one? Because they do have it pre-warded. And there's no smite for Dignitas. Crumb's not in the vicinity. And he comes in just in time. There's no more hope for EG.
Getting all the stacks that he can. PewDiePie hasn't been on Draven in a while, but it seems to be faring well. Dignitas is communicating themselves very well, especially having the solo lanes surrounding Crumbs, as I was saying just before. really coordinating right off the bat. It seems like they've been playing together forever.
They haven't even had to rely on too much intervention from other members of the team either.
Right.
Yes, they are coordinated and they've been making some strong moves early, but even solo, they've been able to handle not one,
Makes
but
Crump's job a
two
little easier.
people coming from EG to each lane here. Zion shoving up, doesn't even really need that much ward coverage.
No.
They have a little bit, but there's just so much pressure from the rest of the team at mid that he feels confident he can stay over there. And it's again, Dignitas taking everything by force.
EG moving power and numbers right now. They really can't activate anything until an objective comes up. And they have somewhat of a good fight if they can get Pobelter in with the ultimate. PewDiePie looks like he's just going to start farming up small camps. Dignitas, like I said, leaving, like you said, leaving Zion Spartan to do what he wants.
The pressure has disappeared from the mid lane though. So you can push up like this when your team, like I said, is up at the turret. They're getting vision of your enemies. However, once your team backs from the mid lane and you're the only one pressuring EG, that's when you have to start to worry. That's when the solo queue people are like, "Oh, where's my team?" Well,
I got a little more time.
You need to back off as well. So he does the right thing, pulls back, and Dignitas do not have really anything to worry about right now. They have complete control of the game. As long as they don't misstep at this point, really all they have to do is continue to ward up because they're the ones with the end game jacks here in their hands. Yes, they have to fight against Twitch with the double shields, but they've got 4,000 gold at only 16 minutes with which to do that.
Definitely both teams with kind of an end game catalyst to push themselves into the victory column. Shifter with a clean push, Glitter Lance in middle. At 17 minutes in here, EG is definitely on the back foot, but wondering what to do. We see Crepo in the brush trying to throw out Dark Binding. Snoopy's always with Inox, but they can't.
Well, they've got a three-man bush attempt here to try to shut down the jacks. This could work. Ambush coming in from
There's
Twitch.
Flash still with the ward. No, his Trinket's down. He doesn't have anything to throw for himself. They're using quite a bit here.
Oh,
this is going to be a great push in the bottom lane. He's keeping them totally distracted. This could be the second-tier turret for PewDiePie down there.
Zion is such a beast. 1 versus 2, he gets a kill and doesn't die. 3 people,
not
and
gonna
he
get mid.
still gets one in answer. He draws so much power from EG up to the top lane, and they only get a trade out of it. They lose the turret. This is Dignitas, again, pretty much running over the EG squad here. Now, we did see a good attempt, though. They tried to make something happen. They were making use of what was available to them. What do we have that Dignitas do not? We have the ambush advantage. We can use Twitch to try and pick off this solo laner. The only thing is Zion's so strong right now, he gets an answer kill. So,
and they're doing it right. They're going to the teleport, so it doesn't change the fight completely, but it's still not working. Zion just getting too big on the carries, makes his name known.
Oh god. What they have to do here for EG is play defensively, wait for a Dignitas to come to a turret, and then they need a shockwave from Pobelter into a rat-a-tat-tat from Altec. But that doesn't work if Altec's dosed.
Nope. A few more shots. The stand aside into the catch. Goes ahead and gets a nice bit of gold off of that as he cashes in. PewDiePie having a great game at 2-0-0. The team in general just really playing solid. Sound game.
Well, he's able to cash in, as he said, so it's only going to get worse from here. Draven is one of those characters that when he gets an early lead like this big of a lead, you can't go at him either. Like, you need to send 3 people at Zion. You also need to send 3 people at Draven because he has so much lifesteal.
Oh, gosh.
2 people on Zion.
Jump it.
Actually, can he get it?
Oh, so close. He tried to get in for the last attack, but you see how much it takes to get Zion Spartan to go down. Dignitas able to pick something up every time. They're really just kind of walking this one across the beach right now. Real relaxed. They know they're going to be in the base soon.
That was a good use of space there by Inox, knowing the leap strike distance and finishing off the kill. But it's a small token for EG.
You can see
long road ahead of them.
Inox still building, trying to get stuff that he can clear waves with. Goes with the Hydra in the first place. He's still going to die in these fights. There's not much they can do. They've been so kind of starved for gold, starved for a lot in this game. Dignitas always in their face.
We'll see, because they could pull out a miraculous shockwave.
Yeah,
to,
still have it.
AoE damage here, so the possibilities are there from EG. Now, we've seen that the picks aren't even a reliable source, because 3-member trying to pick off somebody still gets turned around, so they really, really have to hope for Dignitas to funnel into a bad spot.
Right. 6,000 gold behind. Looking to get a win after a loss yesterday, and not, you know, everybody, we see the change of Yellow Pete to Alltech. The bottom lane, not necessarily a reason for the loss yesterday. The team kind of still wasn't getting together. A lot of teams said that will be somewhat of a problem or a hindrance learning in the new season with everybody being a sub, with everybody coming in just recently.
Yeah, this won't be the best start for Alltech.
Right.
A little disheartening going into another game like this and losing just as bad. However, like Complexity, EG were also expecting some growing pains. This split, expecting some losses and knowing that they are going to need to take those and learn from them. As we said, they just had tryouts. Their tryouts barely finished before the split started. So Alltech is one of the freshest players that has been added to any of these teams, and he's a brand new to the North American LCS. So there's a lot that EG have to get used to and have to work through.
Definitely a different caliber, as well as Cutie Pie being one of those players that would really take advantage of that situation, would find every in that he could and get an inch every time. And right now, level 12 to Alltech's level 10. He's keeping it safe at bay because the vision isn't too great to his right side. He's got escape vision here, but he'll just go ahead and farm it up. 192 to 144 there for the AD carries.
Dangerous to go for the vision, and he pays for it.
Boop! Right on top of the noggin, Snoopy gets a noogie, and it looks like he's going to go down.
Yeah, you're kind of forced into a lose-lose right there. Need to get vision. Oh, they've got vision, but they have no smite to steal it with, so.
Three wards in. That's a box and a half right there. Nobody's going to want to walk through it. Even Pole Belter with a black shield on. A wild growth on a Kiwi Kid. It's going to be the smite for Baron going over to Crumbs. He goes down, but there is death raining down onto everybody right now. Kiwi Kid forced to run. Zion Spartan with about 10 HP. He's healing up. The Tempest misses, so there's no cripple follow-up. And it looks like Zion Spartan with the dip dive takes the Thresh Express to what might have got him killed. And I think it might.
Zion can go for it!
He gets the kill on to Alltech. Very nicely done. I don't know if he's going to come up with another one, but you can see the swords on the kills mean shut down, so good gold going back and forth.
All right, Dignitas go back for another Baron. This one, though, they don't have that much damage at the moment. Look at the levels. As compared to Baron here, Baron's putting out a lot more than they can actually take. And we do get one of those great shockwaves that I was looking for. It was actually timed to try and steal Baron as well. So a very strong move from Pobelter. And it also lined them up for a lot of damage from Alltech. So EG did get to use their AoE combo there. However, now that Baron is off the map, Dignitas will not be drawn to that area. They won't be putting themselves in that bad situation again. So it'll be a little bit harder to pull off that shockwave.
Worked a little bit better for him yesterday. They had a pretty nice Baron call to kind of switch the game, or continue it, I should say.
Yeah, that one there, reminiscent of past Dignitas Barons.
Trying to replicate. Cannot get it to happen right away. Yeah. About 8,000 gold now for Dignitas. Kind of getting closed in by EG here. That Dragon was a huge, or Baron rather, was a huge surge for Dig. But the fact that they do not carry it anymore, except for Shifter here, means that EG may be able to get a few of those kills they need without that regen, without the buff on Dignitas.
Now, Dragon's a lot more tame in that it won't put out as much damage and get as low. However, it will force them to group up in a similar fashion. And Bo Belter might be able to get off another team-winning shockwave.
Oh, the ball delivery system! Zion Spartan gets the wild growth immediately. Inox is his focus, but Inox, a little bit tankier now, is able to sustain those empowered shots, as well as the strikes from Jax. Shifter gets hit up here. EG looking very good on the Dragon engage.
All right, the Dig group up again. Dig go down again. Great shockwave there. Snoopy jumps right into Cutie Pie, and they take out the Fed Draven. So it's a 4-5 right when they started off. And this is EG's comeback. We've seen so many comebacks. Yeah, look at that. He gets to do nothing.
Ate him.
But yeah, after that, the 4 versus 5, it's still another great follow-up from EG. They actually don't even lose anyone. And Snoopy is able to keep slows on Lulu, and they're even able to get that. So that's what? 1, 2, 3. Was that 4 turrets or 3 turrets also after winning that team fight?
Kobe, I just said, I think the words 8,000 gold lead, 6,000 gold lead. It's just got closed, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
EG
Dig
coming
with
out
a couple bad
huge on
calls.
that.
Definitely cost him.
2 good shockwaves. Pobelter kept himself safe in lane. He kept farming. He's 0-0 and 7. He knew the team would need him, and they also called for him to be that guy they can get behind now. With the delivery system onto Snoopy, that's going to be fast kills coming in, but Snoopy's also has no tank items really except for that Hex Drinker, so his HP can go down quite quick.
Dig definitely getting a little ahead of themselves with the lead that they got. Right. They forgot about the one thing that can get EG back into the game. As I was saying, yeah, they could still pull off a great AoE combo, and they group up for 2 more AoE combos from EG around the 2 neutral objectives. Yes, they get both of them. They get the Baron, they get the Dragon, but they give EG a huge leg up. A lot of comeback experience, comeback gold, and now Pobelter's level 16.
I don't know if they had that follow-up. A good hit from Crumbs. Whoa, big damage. Snoopy goes in. He does get the kill going into Kiwi Kid. They try to lock it down themselves, but 3 members had a full screen follow-up.
What are they doing? They have Jax down bottom with no teleport. What are they engaging for? That's... Great answer from EG, though. We can't take it away from EG. They're seeing these moves from Dig, and they're making the correct responses. They keep on getting the shockwaves, locking someone down, and using their damage to destroy Dignitas, make them pay for these calls.
Alltech on the top side. Dignitas not really being able to, or really having the team to go into their kind of 1-3-1 split push that they would. Definitely a new formulation here that they're going with. 10-9, Cutie Pie looking to get some shots onto Snoopy, maybe bait out something here. Ooh, that could have been even worse than he was hoping for. 27 minutes onto this one. 1 shot puts Snoopy down to about 75% HP. And it looks like they are going to try to get what they can onto the turret. Crepo on the backside, constant dark bindings, and he's going for damage too. Needlessly large rod, Phoenix Codex on top of the cooldown boots of Lucidity. He's going to be looking to throw out that pain. Inox meets up with Zion Spartan to level down the bottom lane.
Yeah, when you are down like that, it's correct option. You build more damage so that you can have a chance of coming back. If they make a mistake, you can punish them because you actually have built the damage and you can get the kills. Pobelter played a huge part in them coming back. He's got the 3 main items you need for your AP carry at mid, and it showed. But Dignitas now, their teleport finally came back up on Zion. They split. They got one of the objectives.
207 to 182, a 6-4-1 score versus 4-3-4. For what Inox went through in the beginning of the game, he's definitely pulled himself back in. Looks like EG needs to do the same with the rest of their members. It's definitely a glimmer of hope that they know is there now. With the fights that just happened, I'm sure Dignitas is feeling like they are on the back foot, even though they've been on EG's side of the map a little bit more recently.
And even though EG are behind, they may be happy Baron's coming back up. They need to get vision around it, though, if they want to make a similar play.
Backing right now to get some buys in before that Baron. Whole team sharing. I thought they were trying to share experience, but it's just Pobelter still farming. 323, highest in the game. They're going to go with the buddy system as they should right now. Any kills could definitely mean a push to an inhibitor.
Yeah, and look at what Dignitas have done. They've littered this red side jungle with wards. So they know what mistakes they've made, correcting them already. Don't want to make them again. They leave Zion split pushing bottom, get vision control around Baron, and force EG to be the ones with bad positioning. Now Dignitas, they need to spread out. They haven't been spreading out their damage threats well enough because EG, every time they're jumping on them, getting an early shockwave on Cutie Pie, taking out that huge source of damage very early on.
Just 3. Not able to get the final hits on it. Dignitas, very good ward coverage yesterday within their games and was really a catalyst to the victory. Here, still trying to keep that up. You can see all the consumables in their inventory, even though they're so far up. Also leaving the breadcrumb wards so they can get out safely. Right now, it's all about this teleport that Zion Spartan could make and this pressure to Baron.
Also, the Elise and the Thresh. It's all for Dignitas. They're looking for the pick right now because they've successfully denied vision from EG. Now all they have to do is land a stun on someone who doesn't have Black Shield on them.
Says, oh yeah. Good little dodge out by Zion. This is a definitely I don't want to lose situation. It creates hesitation between both teams. They know this is getting tight. Snoopy wasn't sure what that lantern was for, but now he knows. They're just trying to clear out the jungle. Make sure Dignitas doesn't have an upper hand. A fight within those jungle corridors would be huge for Zion Spartan if he can get there in time.
Ah. So as long as Dig just wait it out, don't start the Baron, they will get the dragon first quite easily. And they just buy time here. They can make EG more and more anxious.
4 of 4 dragons,
Time goes on.
1 of 1 barons. That is game control, if anything. But will they be able to finish it?
They get the objective, but they all die afterwards.
It happens. We'll see if they can change the end result of that situation. EG forcing it down mid here. This is very kind of Dig-esque. They're trying to dictate the game with a fast push down middle, but Dignitas is going to start roaming. They're actually quite far away from each other. Can Kiwi Kid get another one? The safety of the Thresh Lantern helps Crumbs, but he may have solidified his own death. But they actually do-si-do that one out. Spartan's going to be hit up by Inox here, and like I said, Inox was building damage. Both players have to watch out on that quick burst.
With that pick from EG, they actually forced the back from Cutie Pie, so the double split push gets stopped, and then Zion is forced to use his teleport to head off the other prong of Dignitas' attack. And they do not lose an inhibitor, they don't lose any turrets, able to stop the dual split push from Dignitas, and they've been able to get regain a bit of control around their red side jungle for the upcoming Baron.
Altac now going to start playing a big role as he starts to get his items finished. He actually went straight into that last Whisper after the Blade of the Rune King. Zeal is finished up there with another pickaxe as he's piecing more damage together. And we've seen the Pobelter ultimates. Nothing to be messed with. And 1,600 gold in his pocket. Lanes are all actually quite close. So that top lane, very good job by Zion Spartan in the beginning of the game. Has done what Dig hopes to be enough to really win the next fight. Their initiation looking for that wild growth Zion jump.
Well, he's a 3-item Jax now. He doesn't even, he's already past the point of the Blade plus Trinity Force combo. He's even got survivability now.
Yep.
So as long as he doesn't get hit with the Shockwave, it's going to be a very strong fight from Dignitas. Because the Randuin's going to help him out a lot with Twitch. He already has Counter-Strike, so it's a good answer. But with Randuin's on top of that, he will have a pretty good time chasing down Altec. That Black Shield that we talked about, Champ Select, is really paying off. He's blocked all the CC, as we said.
Seeing what kind of items that Pobelter's packing with that Void Staff, he can really put out some pain. Not a lot of magic resistance, if any, looking across the board. Besides, Kiwi Kid has been able to really be built up here. Shifter, obviously, with the Athene's Unholy Grail for that mid coordination when he was fighting against Pobelter. But everybody's going to be taking big damage. And Zion now looking to toy with Inox. These teleports are actually
here.
up.
It's a pretty bold
Zion.
move to tank up under turret here, but he's going for it. And he's got full stacks of attack speed passive now.
Wow. He can now take out Inox. This should not... Oh, okay, he actually hit the Q. I thought he was going to be within some minions to get out. There's a very nice Randuin's. The Tempest cripple. No! He gets the execute on the Resonating Strike to go down. 11-9. Inox now coming back into the game. We see him... Oh, my word! He almost took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was painful. Cutie Pie's got Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer combo.
That was painful to watch.
4-item Draven at 34 minutes.
You know what's bad when you wince
No
as the
armor
watch, as the viewer?
on Snoopy, yeah. So what can EG actually do with this power play? Because, you know, they gave up inhibitor turret for a 4 versus 5 situation on the map. However, they're so far behind, so risky to really go for anything. You definitely don't want to start Baron, but I was thinking maybe a smaller objective, like one of the buffs, or just pure ward coverage. An objective in itself could lay down some a little bit better vision.
Right.
They aren't able to take too much of an advantage, though, even with Jax being down. So Zion's sacrificing his life to get that inhibitor exposed. I mean, it'll be so much easier for him to split push again versus Inox. And right now, what that means is EG members need to start buying home guards because their base has already been breached. So just Inox going up there is not going to be enough. He can't 1v1 Zion.
This could be big. Look at Altec, 5-2-1 on the game, just finishing the Phantom Dancer.
Now
the
fast.
critical cloak coming in there to give him a little bit more attack crit.
He goes for it, he goes!
Oh, he gets it! Snoopy coming up huge with the Cosmic Smite. Cutie Pie's in the middle. He's going to be going down.
Whoa!
Dignitas could have just solidified this one at Baron for themselves. This will at least be another turret coming in here for Evil Geniuses. Crumbs should go down in the effect. He gets the Whimsy speed, 5 seconds of safety. There are no wraiths there to be taken, and it looks like Inox will be able to get himself another kill. The Sonic Wave coming in, but Zion Spartan doing what he can now to meet with Inox for a 1v1.
2 members down. They have Zion cornered. This
pole
could be 3
belter.
members down. If he goes down quick enough, it could be the game.
This was big. Zion Spartan getting hit up. EG can't really push too much after this. We have members of Dig in the middle pushing up the waves. The minions are at River.
Dignitas.
But huge play.
Oh my God, Baron will haunt them forever. Snoopy just
That was an
barely
early
gets
spike.
there. Jumps in with the ward. He just placed the ward down. My God, Snoopy with a huge comeback for Evil Genius.
And it feels so good when you live too.
Oh,
Jump
not
in
only
it.
did he live, they chased down kills. 2 members of Dig down. Enables them to even clean up Zion as well. Dig didn't wait for Zion to split push up there either. Zion rushed this, bum rushed that inhibitor. Able to get it down before he died, but it's a huge comeback for EG. 2 more giant losses for Dig at Baron.
Very, very big play, and I think EG gets out of that with full Baron as well. Dignitas' Baron was kind of wasted out. They died after. Shifter was one of the only ones to come out with it, so now EG can use full pressure here.
Oh, Dragon comeback
Wow.
as well.
They're
They
level
need to get,
18,
Crepo
17
actually
too,
should
so
get
that's
close to this.
defensive Dragon.
He needs comeback experience. Crepo should, yeah, there we go.
He's level 14, never mind. The average may not be up there yet, but I'm pretty sure it's quite close to that Baron Gold now. 10-14, a little bit of repel on the left side of your screen. You can see Dignitas moving power in numbers as they make their way through the jungle. This gets scarier and scarier because it becomes we have to force our situations now, and that could be tilty.
Also, you have to worry about late game Twitch nowadays here.
Ouch.
I mean,
7-2-2 all tech.
You've got Draven who caps out on items faster
Yep.
than any other AD carry due to the passive. So Cutie was the man of the rift for the beginning of this game, but he's maxing out much quicker than Altec will, and Altec can hit everyone when he pops the rat-tat-tat.
There's a jump on. A Black Shield does not cancel the lead to you, but the damage, not so much. Gonna get a good clear out. Dignitas now trying to re-dictate where the game should be going. Zion Spartan, however, with the team now, the teleport's not really coming into use.
Yeah, they really just don't have that power anymore to be able to push EG around. They have to be worried about the ambushes from Altec. They have to be worried about these shockwaves. If they get locked up at all, any Oriana delivery system here, whether it's Inox or Snoopy, they'll get obliterated because Altec is huge now. He's almost going to complete that Infinity Edge too. That's going to be the kicker there for
Another
EG. Once they can get an Infinity Edge Twitch
close
in the back.
7-2-2. Altec did, like you said, did not have a good early game, but first time on the LCS stage, keeping his mind in it and knowing that the late game can still be a spot where EG can come back to this one. Old EG, where was old EG? 55, 60 minutes, always. They love this part. They live for it. See what they can do. Inox to the top lane now. They got to be careful, but both teleports stand next to each other, so they'll be coming in at the same time as well, with the ability also to cancel each other's. Kiwi Kid now looking like they could try to pinch for this turret. Those outer turrets get scarier and scarier to guard as the game goes on.
Yeah, that bottom lane minion line is actually pretty close to working on Nexus turrets. So Dig doing a good job of pressuring the other side of the map. They might be able to get a Nexus turret killed by minions if they stay here long enough. And EG would rather give up the secondary turret than the inhibitor, or the Nexus turret.
They still have good wave clear. Having that turret down in the bottom, so hurting right now. Rather inhibitor, but it just respawns. Cutie Pie going a little crazy just to get 2 shots onto the turret here. 40 minutes in, 407 to 439 in that mid lane as they have been farming their faces off throughout this one. And now 4,000 gold lead only for Dignitas. That has fluctuated so much, but the entire game with EG being down, they have won multiple fights.
And Altec has just killed off the last of the super minions bottom, so the inhibitor respawning should be even there unless Zion runs his base straight up. Dignitas could go for the exposed inhibitor and straight 5v5, but even in those confined spaces, having to go through that entrance to get in the base cuts them off. That's a choke point that Pobelter can use for his Orianna. And with Snoopé being able to use the invisibility and the upgraded leap from Kha'Zix, he can deliver that ball to anyone he wants to. Gonna have to see if Dignitas start upgrading more sweepers, start bringing some pink wards to the team fight, because if they can actually cut Snoopé off and stop the delivery of Orianna's ball, then they will have a much better chance in these team fights. They've really been, the problem has been being locked up by Shockwave while being attacked by Altec from the backlines. If they can do something, get some true sight, and cut off Snoopé's initiation.
Surfing.
Cutie Pie always with the swag.
Yeah. Swinging backwards.
That happens when you hit full item.
This way.
That's the Draven new passive. Full item Draven.
Follow me. 7-5 on the turrets right now. They look to pick up a few more. 11 in total on the map, so they only need to go through 4 more if they even choose.
What do you think, Riv? What are the odds on Baron number 3 for Dig? 3rd time's a charm.
This is going to be big. I don't know. Snoopy's got his smite on top. Crumbs was ready for that. You got to imagine there's the execute there as well as your damage. And Crumbs smited early, so I don't know. Dig is definitely feeling the pressure.
As I said, I haven't seen Crumbs use the new Elise.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
that's right.
You know, he loves the champion. He's played it a lot. Not sure if he was quite used to the changes to the damage. He has gone with the new build, the cooldown reduction build, full tank. So the execute damage is not what it was. If you mess that combo up and you think you're getting more out of your bite, then you will mistime your smite, as we see.
Yep. Good rhyme. Oh, he takes the ride. Crumbs is there too. Zanya's, wait a minute, here comes the teleport in now. Cutie Pie taking Baron damage. That's canceled out. There's gonna be a kill though. Shifter giving help to Cutie Pie here as they get back around. I don't know, Kevin. I'm now gonna answer you. Actually, no, I'm not, because here comes EG. They're on the other side of the Baron. This is gonna be another attempt. 42 minutes in, a 3rd one of the game. Dignitas, Kiwi Kid, missing out to death. Baron is still there, going down quite slowly. It looks like they are going to just grit their teeth and hold off on this one. Now we're getting the Baron Boogie. Nobody inside holding Baron's health. Quick on the regen. Cutie Pie's going for the turrets before he even stops the regen here. Baron's back to full.
All right, they scare him off Baron. 4v5. Oh, re-engage. They're in the pit. This is great. Shockwave plus Rat-a-tat-tat here from
He's got the ball.
Dignitas got to be careful.
Oh, there's the Baron. This is going to be huge. If they can get in the base, Shifter's got the Lich Bane. That's huge. Zion, Spartan, and Kiwi Kid are getting shredded by Command Shockwave. That's going to be on the outside. Altec getting a great spray and pray through the team. Look at the HP bars of Dignitas as they scurry for home.
So they got another good shot. However, 1 person for Baron, definitely worth it for Dig. So they did come out ahead. 3rd time's the charm. However, a dragon at this point is worth almost as much as Baron. So consolation prize going over to EG. Really, the only thing they have to worry about is the actual stats from Baron, which are huge, especially on Jax, who makes use of both damage and ability power. Snoopy actually gets out of this alive, by the way, after jumping past all the damage because of that shockwave from Pobelter lining everyone up. Shifter saves Zion barely there with the shield plus ulti. He was 1 shot from dead.
Let's see how Dignitas decides to use this one. The last few Barons have kind of fizzled out. Dig lost their last one. EG kind of used it to regain control of the map once Snoopy stole it. And now with Dignitas having it back, did they regain control, force this bottom inhibitor, or try to go for it? Shifter now with the Lich Bane. They're going to start taking down stuff pretty darn fast.
All right, looks like they're just trying to get Cutie Pie more farm, even though he's got max items. More adoration. He loves the fans. Play to the crowd.
Slow play right now coming from EG. They know they can't start to pressure anything with that Baron being used by Dignitas. So with the push up, we do have Pole Belter on that blue buff, and he should be quite effective. Snoopy was not able to carry the ball in last time, but I think that was a good thing because they had a very good split and eye on Snoopy, so they were going to quickly disengage. Here we have EG now pressuring onto a Baroned up Dig. I just said I didn't think this was going to happen, but EG is pulling out all the stops. They know they have the power.
So they're going with a dual split once again.
Could be the base.
Two-pronged attack from Dignitas, but EG are going to go for the Nexus. There's only one Nexus turret as well.
Got backs here.
For Evil Geniuses. Canceling the backs for Zion at least because they want to get one inhibitor in answer. Evil Geniuses are continuing to press for the Nexus, though. We may have a base race.
That is going to be an inhibitor. They do have some of it going down. Zion Spartan's going to decide to back, though. He quickly puts himself behind Vision. Crepo very, very low. Zion enters back into the base. They are going to start chasing Dig is going to start chasing EG out. And it looks like Zion's going to have a little bit of fun. Stopped now by Inox with the teleport instantly.
Okay, so they do still have the two Nexus turrets. However, Crepo going down. Oh, Zion's going to cut them off.
This is beautiful. Jump right onto Pole Belter. He threw the ball. It's only to take off. Beautiful Zanya on the counter-strike. He was taken off that Banshee's veil. Right back to the leap strike. A bonk on the head. Inox and Snoopy down to half health. That was a huge hit. The volatile spider pretty much killing everyone. On the backside, Cutie Pie throwing out the axes. A kill for everyone around the board there.
And Dignitas come up huge in the late game. Dual split, defend successfully at their Nexus turrets. They kill Crepo. Huge win for Dignitas.
A game that can definitely be looked at again to fix a few mistakes on both sides, but hard fought, and the Nexus is what counts. Dignitas picks it up at 47 minutes against Evil Geniuses.
Strong ending from Dignitas, and they are laughing at their own mistakes.
Yeah.
They knew that they had the game in hand at the beginning, and they almost let it slip through their fingers. But in the end, they made the play when it counted.
Crazy stuff. I almost don't know what to say. So back and forth. Kiwi Kid, Cutie Pie, using the power of the braid in this one. Trying to come out strong. A huge early game from Dignitas, but definitely a different style of game we saw from EG today. A lot stronger in that play.
You got to give a shout out to Snoopy for that Baron steal.
Absolutely.
Pretty good getting it back in the game.
That really stalled out a lot of Dignitas' power.
Dignitas, though, they are looking extremely strong in the lane phase now. Definitely a big takeaway from this game. So you still have to be worried about the early game.
Right. The rest of the games can't go like that. That was definitely a stressor. There's one of those games where you are happy, but you're kind of sighing like that shouldn't have happened.
Scar already heading over
to
coach. Give him a little chat. Everybody saw smiles still because they know what the mistakes were. They were just so far ahead that it was okay.
I think EG played a very strong game. Inox to come back the way he did at 6-4-6, at one point getting soloed out and then finding death after death for him. 8-3-2 for Alltech. Putting up numbers. Not something EG's usually had from the bottom lane. It's been solid, or they kind of keep their own, and then they go into the team fight together hoping that everybody comes together. But now they have a few things like Inox. If Pole Belter can start coming out very strong, as he did with the Shockwaves, and now Alltech in the bottom lane, they can start to formulate a lot of pressure where they're the ones engaging and not reacting.
Yeah, he held his own in the mid lane. He came up with big Shockwaves to turn around the mid game when Dignitas were grouping up for the Barons to try and end, and even for the Dragons.
Right.
Snoopy came up with steals, so there were good things from EG. They do have future things to look forward to. As you said, all the teams in North American LCS making so many changes. Everybody's working through growing pains right now, as we've seen on both sides.
Right. A lot of things still kind of historically painting teams. Baron's kind of hurt sometimes. It's still a very, very integral part of the game that you cannot mess up. It sways it. We saw another 5-10 minutes placed on as EG got kind of a grab back. And a lot of the teams that kind of people, not counting out, but have been saying they'll place lower, are the ones that are figuring out the ways to win from being behind, or at least win the fights to keep themselves in the game. So I think they're also ones to watch out for.
Definitely a lot of people to watch out for. LMQ, probably the one everybody's looking at because they're at the top of the leaderboard just getting into the LCS. And they have been making probably the fewest mistakes of everybody so far
Right.
this time around.
To compare, to say LMQ, after they grabbed a first Baron, you can almost expect a game to be over with them. But kind of not definitive style of play when either of Dig or EG were getting Barons here. They wanted to regroup a little bit and then be safe before they did anything instead of take chances, which seems to be putting teams ahead lately, taking a few of those chances, being able to get the kills, because it's really hard to come back in the Vision game now being so early if you mess up early.
The Vision game is extremely important this season. It's definitely come back in a big way.
Yeah.
Everybody having to invest a lot, not only into pink ones, but also sweepers. At the end of this game, they did make a couple more switches, but still, we end the game with only 2 sweepers for EG and 3 sweepers for Dignitas. 1 scrying orb for EG towards the end game there because they didn't want to face check. But yeah, definitely might be seeing some more of those later on.
Where in this game do you think Dignitas could have closed it out a little faster? What do you think?
There are countless places.
Absolutely. All right, first-hand account of Dig's win. We're actually going to be sending it down over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. I want to welcome Zion Spartan and Dignitas. And what a good way to start the Dignitas week. The Barons were interesting for you guys.
Yeah, the first game I get interviewed, we just happened to throw a Baron. I guess that's got to happen at least once when you're on Team Dignitas. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. You're done for the season?
Yeah, that's my Baron throwing for the season. You don't want to quote me on that, though, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret saying those words.
I mean, the interesting thing is you guys still did win the game. That's the benefit. You stayed positive. You were able to win through the game. I mean, what was actually happening as far as the miscommunications at those Baron fights?
A lot of the miscommunication is just that we had good ward coverage, but we weren't being adamant enough about our picks and what we wanted to do. For example, like one of the Barons where they got the Baron, we weren't sure on whether we wanted me to TP or not, and then the call was for me to not TP, like the team established that, and then when I didn't teleport, they got the Baron, one of us died, and we just there was a lot of sloppiness from us there, and I think that's not what we had practiced a lot, and I feel like we could have ended the game like 20 minutes sooner there. I feel like there was just so much like we could have ended the game there, could have ended the game there, could have ended the game there, but like we just mistake after mistake after mistake made this game like a 20-minute toss-up, and it's like who's going to win, who's going to throw at Baron, and I just think if we would have played that game cleaner, it would have just been like a really quick stomp, I feel. Just with when you get a 4-0 lead in a Dragon like that and a Jack starts 2-0, it's pretty hard to lose that advantage, and we did happen to somehow lose that advantage, which is really bad by us, and I just think that if we were a little bit smarter with our ward placement and using our pick potential with Thresh and Elise that game at Baron instead of starting the Baron and throwing at the Baron, we would have had that game, I think, a lot smoother. But I'm glad we won. I just think that we definitely need to clean up our play if we want to be able to take down Cloud9.
Yeah, who you guys are actually playing later in the day. So you got another one ready to go. And honestly, your early game is looking very good. The strength of your team as a whole, too. Yourself and Shifter joining Dignitas seems like a fantastic thing on paper. How's it been working out in practice for you guys?
I agree that our early game is really strong. We've been scrimming some of the top teams and having really good laning results. And again, it just comes down to meshing as a team. Whenever you have a new team, it's kind of hard to get used to playing with each other. That's why everybody thinks the older teams are better. They have more experience. They have more knowledge. We've just been a team for 2 weeks, and I don't like to make any excuses about anything. I'm not saying we're going to get better, but I think there's a lot to improve in terms of having cleaner plays in our later game and just having a smoother transition. And I think smoothing that transition from early to mid game is really what's going to make us one of the top tier teams. And I think once we can get that down a little bit more, we'll definitely be one of the best teams in the NALCS.
All right. Okay, so then speaking about kind of smoothing out some of your plays, we actually have a couple of replays. Traditionally, of course, they are at Baron. If we can pull the first one up on the screen.
Favorite.
I mean, they were the big fights, right? So I'll walk through this one. I think it's about 25 minutes in, so I think it's the first of 3 Barons.
All right.
Want to walk us through this fight?
Sure. So we start the first Baron, I'm pretty sure that we go for. We know that they've got Ori and Twitch, so we don't want to pile into them. Thresh puts up the box because we call to finish the Baron. I'd say that's pretty risky because what happens as a result is we're all stuck in the pit and they have an Orianna and a Twitch. And what happens when they have 2 hyper carries that are really good at killing people in enclosed places is that they die. And what happened? That's what happened there. We just got demolished by Orianna Twitch AoE. The ball sucks them in. The spray and pray kills everyone, and then good guy Kiwi Kid trying to get me out, but I'm like, okay, I'm dead. I'm just gonna kill Altec here. Yeah. And I did a lot of that game where it was like trading 1-for-1 when they were sending a lot of people at me, and honestly, trades like that aren't worth it because when they're ahead of the game, they're gonna look for anything they can get, and wasting their time is better than giving them that kill. And they got a lot of kills like that in that game. Not only from me, from other people on the team as well, but we need to cut things out like that to have a smoother game. And we knew what we wanted to do with that Baron there, but it was extremely poorly executed.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned these are things to improve upon and learn from. And when you kind of watch that clip again, you mentioned it was a very risky play, all of you being in there against the Twitch and Orianna. If you were to do it again and say you were actually making the calls, which I'm not sure exactly how it's still working on Dignitas right now, how would you have done that differently to make it smoother?
I just think you don't ever want to start the Baron unless you're certain that it's free. Or you're using it, the best way to use Baron is as a tool to draw people closer, because in League of Legends, the best way to play the game is to force people to come to you and get objectives that you can on your own. So we have a Fed Jax, right? And he can easily outsplit push the Lee Sin. So we want to use that to our advantage to force them to walk into the pit, because Lee's going to be out pressuring, Jack's going to be out pressuring Lee. The other 4 can then walk in and control the topside jungle. When you have complete vision control and you have to face check into an Elise Cocoon and a Thresh Hook, Morgana's not going to be able to black shield everything. So you're going to get a pick at some point. When you get that pick is when you actually start going for the Baron. If they come, if they don't come, then that's great. Get a free Baron. If they do come, then you have to have the call to go in at the right time, because it depends on the team comp. But if they have an Orianna and a Twitch, you don't want to be grouped up in the Baron pit. And I think we did a really poor job there of being grouped up in the pit a lot of the times. And if we had just cleaned up our Baron play, I think that game would have been 10, 15, even 20 minutes sooner.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. So then a follow-up question then on making the right calls, going for the right kind of fights. What is the in-game communication dynamic now with the team? 2 new guys in, right? Crumbs used to be the shot caller. What's the calls like?
I think the call is really different on the team. Different people make the calls. I definitely communicate a lot, and that's a good thing. But when I'm split pushing a lot, like I was, especially that game on a Jax, like I'm not making as many calls. So my communication is more focused on, okay, I've got vision out bot side. Here's who's bot side. Here's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm not saying, okay, bait the Baron, okay, go on them. So it's kind of like a different dynamic for who we're using. Like when I'm part of the team, I definitely try to like have a bigger voice, but everyone on our team is adding information and making calls. It's not always, oh, Crumbs is a shot caller, oh, Zion's a shot caller. No, it's different people say different things when they think it's right. And I think that's better than having one person be the shot caller, but it's also, there's benefits in
It creates a lot of chaos for one thing.
It can create chaos, but if you're really good at using it well and everybody respects everyone's opinion, then you can have a really fluid team. But it really depends on the dynamics of the shot callers and basically just how good the communication of the team is as a whole.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we are going to pull up another Baron fight. Just to maybe talk about the communication that happened leading up to the Baron fight, because we're all curious. Let's pull this up on the screen. This was the 35-minute Baron fight, Zion.
Okay.
And with obviously Fog of War toggled, so now you get to see what EG saw, but walk us through this one.
Okay, so is this the last Baron or the...
This one was at 35 minutes, I believe.
Okay, yeah,
the second to last Baron that he stole.
Yeah, this is the Baron where I could have teleported in and we would have gotten it for free, but we made the call for me to not teleport in. That resulted in them getting the Baron and then us just being set up to get picked out. We do end up picking Crepo, and then I go suicide for the inhibitor, but that was just us making the best out of a bad situation. And when you have an advantage, you don't want to be the ones making bad trades. You want to be the ones making only good trades and not losing anything. So that was, again, just we had poor ward coverage and calls later on in that game, but I think that can be easily fixed because I think we have the right calls to be made. We were just getting really greedy with trying to make multiple plays happen across the map, and that led to us being a little too quick on the trigger. And I'm kind of glad we got the Baron throw out of the way because I don't want that to happen in our game against Cloud9.
It's on cooldown for at least a week. You couldn't even use it if you wanted to. It's not
once Dignitas throws up Baron once, it can't happen again for like another couple weeks at least.
Another couple weeks. So week 4 is the next Baron
just like week
throw.
4 will be the next time you see us throw up Baron. You can quote me on that.
Okay.
And if it happens before that, then shame on.
You should have brought CDR. You brought the route mastery page.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah. Exactly. There we go.
Okay, so then I want to kind of keep talking to you guys about sort of your shot calling and whatnot, because obviously it wasn't the perfect game for you guys. So Skara being stepping down from the mid lane, being a coach here, how is he working with the team? Is he helping you guys formulate strategies, how to close out games, improving your communication? What does he do for you guys?
Yeah, basically Skara, and we also have another new guy, Cumlycast, Drunk Skara, Skara's alter ego, if you know who that is, also helping us out, and he's kind of more like the macro guy, and we have also Skara, who's been a pro player. The best kind of person to have as your kind of coach is the person who has the most experience. So Skara's a really good person for the coach role, because he understands the game very well, and he just kind of helps us with everything generally. Like, he's really good at helping Shifter with just like the mid lane, like down to the mechanical level about like the matchups mid, and then he's really good like on a more team-based, like objective-based style of the game, just telling us, okay, this is what you should have been doing, this is where you should have been warding, this is what you guys need to do more or less, you know, just kind of helping us with everything. And it's kind of nice to have not only someone who understands the game that well, but also another person who's there to help on like the macro, because Skara kind of is like the more of like a micro person for our team, but he also understands the game really well, so he helps us on like the macro level. But we also have another person who helps us on the macro level, so that just helps us have different people who focus on different things that we need to work on. And honestly, when most of the teams in the NA LCS have very, very poor macro like playstyle of the game, they don't really understand this is what we need to do to win and execute it flawlessly. I think Cloud9 is one of the only few teams that their macros like strong enough that they can focus on improving as, you know, their micro. So Scar's not really helpful for the micro aspect. We just need to focus on just macro, because our early game's there, you know, our laning's there, but we need to really improve as a team on what to do next. We've got an advantage. What do you do? How do you win the game? And that kind of thing is what it's really nice to have coaches and analysts for, because when you have 5 players on a team and you're living with each other like every day, like there's gonna be disagreements. There's gonna be arguments. Players don't see eye to eye on the same thing. And when you have a coach or an analyst that everyone respects, then everyone can listen to what he says and take it as truth and be like, yeah, if everyone, it's like shot calling. If everyone sees a call as a good call, or not necessarily a good call, a call that they'll follow, it can make a bad call into a good call. It will make that bad Baron into a good Baron if everyone follows through. So if we have like that coach that everyone respects and understands, then and follows his viewpoint of how to win the game, then it'll turn into a good viewpoint of winning the game. And I think Skara and Cumly are really good, smart people who understand the game very well. And if we follow the way that they want us to play the game, I think we'll become a better team. Obviously, when you have 5 players on a team, there's already a play style in place, so you can't really take that play style from them, because that's what makes the players who they are. But you can kind of help nudge them in the right direction. I think that's what's really great about coaches and analysts.
All right. Well, the spirit of Dignitas and the coach threshold. It's nice you get the multiple perspectives look on things. But now, 3rd game of the day you won, 5th game of the day against Cloud9. What do you do in the 1 hour you have in between games to try and prepare last second?
I think we just really need to look back at the game and be like, all right, guys, we're not throwing at Baron again. We're going to win the game with our early advantage. I think we can get an early advantage against Cloud9. I don't think there's any doubt, but I mean, there's some doubt, but I think we have a good chance of getting an early advantage. It's like, that's great. You got an early advantage against Cloud9. What are you going to do from there? And I think that's what we really need to take a look at. And if we can execute that properly, I think we have a good chance. If not, then I think you're going to see what happened last game, except a lot worse. So hopefully we can fix that.
All right, well, Zion, thank you very much. Congratulations on your good start to the season. We'll see if you can make that 4-0. Guys, we got to flash away, but after the break, we'll check in with your thoughts on our Twitter question of the day. Then it's on to our 4th match, Team Solo Mid versus Complexity. We'll be right back.
That's not going to be a good situation, even with the Dragon's Rage from Innophone. Oh, good. He is going to be able to get at least 1 kill. No, the safeguard. Oh! He's got the ball.
Dignitas got to be careful.
Oh, there's the Baron. This is going to be huge. If they can get in the base, Shifter's got the Lich Bane. That's huge. Zion's Spartan and Kiwi Kid are getting shredded. guided by Command Shockwave. This is beautiful. Jump right onto Pobelter. He threw the ball. It's only to take off. Beautiful Zanya on the counter strike. He was taken off that fancy fail. Right back to the leap strike. A bonk on the head. Inox and Snoopy down to half health. That was a huge hit. The volatile spider pretty much killing everyone. On the backside, Cutie Pie throwing out the axes. Welcome back to day 2 of the 2014 Summer Split. I'm Ricky Division III. Moving over to the analyst desk with me is Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler. And it's that time of the show where we let you, the fans, do the talking. Earlier in the show, we asked you what day 1 performance impressed you the most and why. Here's what you've been saying, no lies. At Lana Patrick says, gotta go with Xiao Wei Xiao. His mechanics and plays, especially on Yasuo, made LMQ go 2-0 on their first day. Can't argue with that.
I definitely would go with that. I was hoping for it in Champion Select, and when he finally locked it in, I was extremely happy.
The grin on your face. Not trolled this time. At Conrad Pearson, our next tweet says, Shifter, hands down. You dominated last split on Coast, and now with a stronger team in Dignitas, the sky is the limit. I like that.
15 kills, 0 deaths, pentakill. Don't have to say any more than that.
Gift wrapped on that one. Happy early birthday. At Jake J. Walker says, the last tweet, you got to give the best performance to Link. Since coming back from Paris, he has taken his game to a new level.
His Nidalee game especially, even though they did lose, he played extremely well. I have to say, I definitely agree with that one. He also has brought back a lot of information from Cloud9, which is a great team to get inside of and understand the inner workings.
And we got many more weeks for the players to impress you guys. If you haven't shared your thoughts, it's not too late. Send your answers to @LOL Esports and be sure to use the hashtag LCS so we can use it on air. But now let's hand it over to Freak and Jat to take us into our next game. But as we go, Complexity know they are seen as the underdogs in the LCS, but they think they have found TSM's Achilles heel, their new bot lane duo.
I'm not sure how Complexity would do this split because the other teams all made lots of changes and their rosters look really strong.
TSM have always been a team that traditionally have very strong laning phases. However, adding an aggressive jungler is definitely going to make the solos a bit stronger, but their bot lane arguably got weaker. It was no doubt that Xpecial was a world-class support, and together Xpecial and Wild Turtle made a world-class bot lane, and you take one half of the equation out, what happens to the other half?
They need a lot of work in my opinion. They're kind of shaky. They had a decent series versus Coast, but that could have gone either way.
Kind of see them lower in the standings, unfortunately, because the split's just really strong and all of the teams improved, and they're kind of coming in as the very, very new, fresh team.
This is an opportunity for them. They're the underdogs. They don't have anything to lose.
Being the underdogs is a new feeling. We went from the top of the amateur scene to the bottom of the pro scene, and we just have to prove ourselves. This is where we belong.
Got to prove ourselves it's where you belong. That's actually, I think it's my favorite ending quote from one of these packages, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's true, but it's like true and you like kind of feel, I'm not saying it well at all.
It's true on many levels.
It's true on many levels. It's awesome. I like it. I don't know. That's all I'm going for.
All right.
You said it better than I
agree,
did.
Freak.
Thank you. We're good. On to our next game now, Team Solo Mid versus Complexity.
And their first game today, TSM actually had a big lead as they moved into the mid game, but then they allowed Curse to kind of hook themselves back in onto Wild Turtle multiple times. And that was that game. They still managed to win, so they should be able to hold through in this game. And historically, TSM does very well on beating up on the weaker teams in the LCS. They went 14-2 against the bottom 4 teams in the spring split just recently. And earlier, we also saw some good jungle pressure from Amazing. His Elise game was very solid, a big improvement from yesterday. And Bjergsen even said afterwards that they're developing some really good chemistry, so we should expect to see more roams to get their lanes ahead.
It's looking pretty good for especially that player. On the other side, though, of the matchup, it's going to be Complexity. They've been playing together for longer as a total unit. Today, we saw them making mistakes, though, to give LMQ a pretty easy win.
Yeah, there were definitely some miscommunications as Complexity tried to pick off members of LMQ to kind of regain control of the game. And obviously, they were coming up short because they were making risky plays when they're already behind. But, it's still early for Complexity. They have the right attitude. They're still trying to find their footing in this new league, this highly competitive North American summer split, and they do have time to grow and improve for now.
Yeah, for now. They say you learn more from losses than wins. Hopefully they learn quickly.
True.
Yeah, see if they can do it. Check out the starting lineups on the blue side. Team Solo Mid, Dyrus in the top lane, Amazing in the jungle, Bjergsen in mid, Wild Turtle on AD carry, and Glebe on support.
And on the red side is Complexity. Westrice in the top lane, Broken Shard in the jungle, Prawley in mid lane, Robert Exley on AD carry, and Bubba Dub on support.
So it's interesting we talk about how these guys are going to play out because Complexity's brightest point, I think, was their duo lane in their game against LMQ. Got an early kill in the lane. Okay, more misplayed, but overall, Robert and Bubba Dub play very well. And they said, well, you've got a new bot lane going down there. I mean, Complexity is a team that would trade games with C9T. They're used to playing with Glebe down there.
True.
So this is a lane they could learn to abuse and get a win off that.
Yeah, they have more experience against this bot lane than they would against any of the LCS teams, really. And honestly, even though Prawley had a bad game earlier on today, his mid laning early game has been very solid.
Yeah. Generally getting minion leads here. We'll see if they can make this one pay off. Robert Exley's Twitch banned away at the start. Team Solo Mid saying, well, if your bot lane's your strong point, we'll remove the parts that are going to carry from there. Nidalee removed from Bjergsen. We'll see if there's going to be some kind of aggressive mid lane going on here. He's probably trying to push him onto a certain champion and win the matchup.
It's very hard to push Bjergsen onto stuff, though. He's even picked up Soraka, which is kind of a testament to his willingness to adapt. I know a lot of super good mid laners in the past have kind of been stubborn about their champion picks, and they're saying, I don't want to play Soraka if it's too easy or something. But Bjergsen, when he has that as a threat, he just uses it in his arsenal and becomes even more powerful.
Yeah, we've seen there's teams that have like risen and fallen with patches. A random example being Samsung Ozone out of nowhere, kind of where Dade didn't have the champion pool for Worlds, and then finally started learning champions that work now. Like his Yasuo is amazing, but yeah, there's guys in the pro scene you see him kind of go up and down. So Twitch, Shyvana banned away as well. Evelyn removed from Amazing. Looks like not 4 jungle bans, but at least removing that one. Soraka removed from Prawley. Champion he's happy to play, but won't be able to. And now 1 more ban for Complexity.
Yeah, there's a lot available. I mean, you almost want to ban Lee Sin just because Amazing has so much experience on it, but then with stuff like Jax still available, would TSM even use the first pick on a Lee Sin? There's definitely some things to consider, which I think is why Complexity is taking so much time with this final ban.
And it's going to be the LeBlanc also removed, so 3 mid lane bans, 1 top, 1 jungle, 1 AD. Teams a little bit now to consider what they're going to go for. I think he's covered Yi many times, but Kassadin has been left available. Probably did not work very well with that champion against LMQ. So now it's TSM's turn to say, here's how it's played.
Bjergsen getting to play his new assassin buddy. Now, we haven't gotten to talk too much about the new Kassadin because he has been banned so much.
Yeah.
I would actually say, so if we compare him to the Kassadin that was banned all throughout the spring split before the rework, I'd say the early game now is stronger.
Yeah.
And the late game, the hyper late game, is also stronger. But there's a big dip in the entire middle of the game. You don't see those Catalyst tier of the goddess Kassadins running around and killing people.
True.
He's actually very weak in the mid game, where many of these games currently are decided. So that's actually a very risky pick to me.
It is. We'll see if he gets held down. I mean, he can last it under a turret, but how well can you make the plays in the mid game? One thing I've really noticed about the Kassadin as well is the difference in power between level 15 and 16 is massive. Your ulti goes from a 5 to a 3-second cooldown, and it just makes a very big difference. Again, just back up your point about his late game being so good. Complexity, though, you're going to get Jax and Lee Sin, so Broken Shard, his second Lee Sin game with a split, and hey, you've got a Jax in there for Westrice.
Makes some good sense. Westrice should hopefully be able to get going. It's going to be hard, though. Dyrus is very good at keeping down enemy top laners from carrying the game too hard. Picking a Jax for Westrice. He hasn't been very successful, even in the promotion tournament, individually. So Jax is something that he needs to do very well individually on to be successful. The Lee Sin, though, for Broken Shard, he's had a lot of success on.
All right, so Complexity do manage to corner some pretty top-tier picks and half their lineup at TSM, get their bottom lane in as well, and with almost every champion from that role being available, they got pretty much the cream of the crop for this one. TSM's lineup also does look very strong.
They could even go with an Elise jungle as well. I mean, I actually don't feel like there's a support jungler combo stronger in the game right now than the Morgana plus Elise. Only because of the 3-second Dark Binding and the 2-second stun from Elise is just too much lockdown for people to deal with. I almost never see that combo lose.
Yeah, even like Elise Thresh, like as good as that is, you're right, it's a 1.5-second hook instead of a 3-second binding.
Yeah.
We did get to see that last game, but now we're going to see what happens with this one. Complexity now 12 seconds to go for their next 2 picks for this one. Most lanes are available. Robert Exley definitely big on Corki. Zyra once again, Bubba Dub playing a lot of this champion, and it's a gigantic AoE magic damage grouping.
Yeah, I mean, we have to consider as well, Twitch and Lucian off the board. Robert Exley gets to pick from the rest of the AD carries. What does he think is the third best? Against Lucian, he wants to match him with Dash, good AoE damage, a lot of magic damage as well to go with a fairly physical heavy lineup so far. Yeah. And there's also picking Zyra, which Glebe ended up picking in the previous game.
Yep. It's just a whole bunch of damage, so if TSM does go in, that can be pretty threatening. One thing to keep in mind is Kassadin the shield is magic damage only, so pretty much no matter who he fights against, he's going to block some of that damage.
There's a chance. I mean, it depends on Prawley's champion pool here, because he's a Ziggs player by trade, but a Ziggs against a Kassadin isn't a fantastic matchup. You would almost want to pick physical damage against Kassadin, but then there's the question of do they have too much physical damage on their team? You know, with the Corki and the Zyra, they probably have enough magic damage to work in, but a Yasuo could work very nice here, but he's a Ziggs by trade.
Yeah, he's a Ziggs by trade, types in GG, tells his teammate to do that, clicks the only champion available, there we go. So how well can Bjergsen hold on to his lane? I mean, Ziggs' pushing is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Kassadin's follow-up to an Elise Sync isn't amazing, so maybe that, you know, probably gets to push and doesn't get punished for it.
Exactly. We look at these team compositions as well. Complexity has a lot of pushing, especially in the middle and the bot lane, and a whole bunch of damage team-wide. But then I'd say if I look at TSM's lineup, they have much more control.
Yeah.
The Elise and Morgana combos, but then you just add into the fact Kassadin's a slow bot. Renekton also has a very long stun if he wants to get it right. It's not a high damage team, but it's a high control team. And TSM wants to control Complexity, who always tries to make big plays.
Sure.
So they should be able to shut him down that way.
We'll see if they can make it happen, if they can get the early game pressure and snowball up from there. There's a champion slide onto the Rift. Let's see who you guys voted to win. Well, 91% vote for TSM to win over Complexity. Another pretty commanding vote for these guys.
Over 90. They had a lot of those last split. We'll see how many more of them they can get here. But you can also send your picks during the game by tweeting at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag TSMWin or COLWin. We'll be checking in on the vote periodically to see which way the winds are blowing. With no Yasuo in the game, it's hard to say.
Yeah, well, there's no wall in the way. I mean, no Riven either. There's so many... No Janna.
There's a lot of wind in League of Legends.
There is, actually.
But I guess with 119 champions, there's a whole bunch of everything.
Yes, there is. Like, they need a physical damage mid laners. Like,
Yeah.
there's like 17 options.
Yeah.
And no, not going to be the case for this one. Yep. Lee Sin, Jarvan, if you're frogging.
Yep, back in the day.
Yeah.
Xin Zhao.
Yeah, if you're Cardsman Bob or someone else. Those are fun. I like mid Sin Zhaos. They're
Nocturne
cool.
mid.
Pantheon. I fought a Nocturne mid. I lost to it.
All right, we've proven our point.
Yeah, so we're
we have a game about that.
We've kind of only up to like
Yeah.
11, but you know the rest of them are out there. Don't
Yeah, so
worry.
TSM would definitely need this win. They want to go 2-1.
Yeah.
Complexity would like to avoid going 0-3. This is an incredibly tough week they've been having as well.
Oh,
And it's
sure.
not getting any easier playing against Team Solid.
Team Solid, the top 2 team from the last split. Plenty of fans in attendance. I like how anytime we mention a TSM member in the pregame, we're like, players to watch, and like he's on TSM chance to start. Like, I love the crowd for shouting out, like
Loyal
shouting out for their
fan
favorite players. It's a whole bunch of fun. It makes it great to cast here in live audiences. One of the big improvements over Season 3.
Absolutely. Go Glebe.
Yeah.
Says the crowd. Glebe had a difficult time trying to protect Wild Turtle in that last one.
Well,
that's Wild Turtle's fault.
That was, yeah.
As I think we can all agree. He's got to play safer in this one on Lucian, but the team with a bunch of control will actually set up Wild Turtle for a very big game. He should have the finishing damage if they start getting this game rolling.
Well, Wild Turtle right now, not learning his lesson. He's alone in the mid lane, in range of Prawley. He gets hit by the Q, by the way. The health bar has gotten chunked out, so 0 for 1 dodging skill shots, Wild Turtle.
It's a bad ratio.
Yeah.
As of now. Wonder if we're going to see these delayed level 1s, if we're going to see the lane swaps. It's interesting because...
Ooh. Prawley's 2 for 2. So they're going to scout.
There's potential this is just for warding. And we've been seeing a lot more lane swaps, Freak. You and me were trying to have a very lengthy discussion about this. But there is some delayed evades. Amazing is late getting out.
Wild Turtle gets spotted. Q hits a Spiderling. Wild Turtle gets over the wall, gets rooted up. Dyer's going to defend him. So aside from learning the wrong skill at level 1, nothing lost for TSM.
Yikes. That was real scary. Nothing lost yet. Because at least they've already lost Morgana and Complexity is invading 5 strong. This could very well be a slightly late jungling start for Amazing because they have to abandon this blue buff. And it also dictates the formation of the lane. It looks like Complexity is going to have to stay up here if they want to keep experience, which means we get standard lanes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It's upside down. We have Australian standard lanes. Complexity going to go ahead and try to get their 2 buff start. Lee Sin going to make his way to his own red buff. And Amazing and Dyrus going to start out down here. But realize that because the quote-unquote top lane is going to be forced to 1v1 lane, you don't get to double jungle for very long. Amazing grabs his red buff. The recall in from West Rice. He'll TP back into lane with a ward and some potions.
And this kind of de-emphasizes slightly the AD carry and the mid lane's impact, because when we're having the double junglers happening, proportionally farm-wise, the mid laner and the AD carry are having a bit more strength, kind of like back in the old days of the AD carries really carrying games.
Yeah.
But now we're back to the standard lane. Everyone is a little bit stronger as long as it stays this way, which it looks like it will. Standard lanes, Renekton bottom, going to have a really good game against West Rice.
You know what's going to be weird about this, though, is West Rice got the blue buff. When they invaded, Broken Shard, I believe he smited for it, but the blue buff actually went onto West Rice. So he's got a bit of an extra bonus XP. So even though Renekton Jax is not a good matchup for Jax, maybe having a bunch of free mana will help him out.
Yeah, it'll at least allow him to hopefully spam a few more last hits. The